amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What? are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There's only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more. Get a rest! No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days, they used to have oxygen for him. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks and Speedy Petey.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, as you know. This is another show of the Sports Loudmouths. I am the host, the Big Easy, Errol Marks, and my co-host, Speedy, I Need a Job, Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Tuesdays and Thursdays right now. At what time, Speedy?
9 p.m. to midnight Eastern time, but not for long.
Not for long. We're moving it to 7 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. Speedy, what is the number to call? Because it's not posted up on the...
631-672-3108. Posting that up right now. Very sorry.
Thank you very much. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app on iOS, WWSRN or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. What is going on, my friends? We have a great show lined up for you. Before we do the introduction, Speedy, what is going on?
Not much with me. Big Easy for you, though. What, did you come back from New Orleans?
I'm losing it, man.
You're losing it. Oh, I know you were at the doctor today. Everything going all right?
Everything's okay. Just trying to get back into healthy shape.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I know people will look at me and you would think that I was 100% healthy, but your body breaks down. You get a little bit older. I'm 40. I hit the 40 today. Well, this year in April. So I'm starting to, break down. So I want to make sure that I'm 100% healthy. So there you go.
Yeah, that's good. That's hopefully you get to back to that point. I know you had the 2 surgeries last year, and
yes.
So, yeah, it's definitely wishing you the best in terms of getting back to that 100%.
Well, I'm trying to get there, but
Yes.
we have a great show lined up for you guys. A little bit later in the show, we will be talking to Arkansas State freshman defensive tackle Teron Sujic. He'll be joining us again. Very nice kid, so happy to have him back on the show. And at 10 o'clock, we have a very special guest. He's been on the show before. Ex-New York Giant, 2-time Super Bowl champion, running back Brandon Jacobs will be joining us on a video chat. That'll be fun.
Yes.
First time we'll actually be on a video chat with Brandon. He's never seen our faces. He's heard our voices a couple of times.
He heard our voices, Anthony Enderosi's voice, and our NFL draft feed last time we had him on.
That's right. So we're going to have him on. I'm sure he's going to enjoy coming back on with us. He really enjoyed coming on with us I would say about 2 years ago.
It was the draft night during our live draft show 2020.
Yes.
He was the feature guest of that. And then we had Eric Coleman on a little later that night.
Yes, I remember that. Anyways, what we're going to get into today, we're going to get into the Knicks, and they're the favorites of trading for Donovan Mitchell. Everybody that took shots at me, calling me a clown, saying that I didn't know what I was talking about. Why are the Knicks the lead team to get Donovan Mitchell? Proposed trade center Mitchell Robinson and Quentin Grimes. Very interesting. Mitchell Robinson, who they just signed. So it's going to be very interesting moving forward on how I know why they want Mitchell Robinson. I understand that whole situation. They lost Rudy Gobert. They need a big man. They added some players in that trade to send Rudy Gobert. They're probably going to try to build around the guard play in the next couple of years. And now that they're moving on for Donovan Mitchell, they're looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is try to get big now and get small in the draft. Steph Curry reaches out to Kevin Durant about returning to the Warriors. Holy moly, if that happens. The Warriors get Kevin Durant, they win the next 2 championships. I guarantee you.
Errol's going to go on strike watching basketball.
Absolutely. Well, I won't watch it anymore. I'll be completely sold and signed and delivered that the Golden State Warriors are the next champion. Why would I even waste my time watching it? DeAndre Ayton signs a 4-year, $133 million contract with the Pacers. Will the Suns match? Well, they actually matched before the show started.
Oh, they did? Okay.
So they've matched it. So it looks like he's heading back to Phoenix. So DeAndre Ayton's probably going back to Phoenix unless somebody else gives him a better deal.
Yeah.
So Johnny Gaudreau signs a 9-year, $68 million deal with the Blue Jackets. I'm not surprised. I was surprised that it was the Blue Jackets. I wasn't surprised that he got that money. So I really thought that the Islanders were the lead team to get him. And I don't know what Lou is doing, but obviously Lou doesn't want to overpay for players. And for 9 years, I think he thought it was a little too long for a guy that's 27, going to be 28 years old, and could probably, 3-4 years down the road get a little bit slower and might not have the speed that he is, strong, as a player. That's his strength. So very interesting to see that Gaudreau is no longer going to be a Calgary Flame. He's heading to the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, it actually took $15 million less to go to Columbus.
Absolutely. Rangers sign Vincent Trocheck, but lose Kopstrom and Vetrano. Is that a plus or a minus in a moves that a lot of Ranger fans wanted to bring back? And, it's so funny. We'll get into the whole – I talked to the Beef and Josh a little bit earlier today about this, and they thought that Trocheck was a better move than bringing back those three guys. I disagree, but we'll get into that a little bit later. The Yankees reportedly no longer interested in Andrew Benintendi due to vaccination status, not being able to travel to Toronto. So Andrew Benintendi looks like he won't be a New York Yankee moving forward. So we'll get into a little baseball as the All-Star break is about to begin over the weekend, as the Home Run Derby. Giancarlo Stanton will be entering a competition that he won a couple of years ago, coming back, one of the biggest boppers in the major leagues right now. Aaron Judge will not be in the Home Run Derby. I'm not surprised. So, especially coming off an opportunity to have a big contract a year, I think he wants to be 100% healthy throughout the season. So,
Pete Alonso's going for his third in a row.
Third in a row against Giancarlo. We'll see what happens. So we'll get into that as well a little bit later in the show. Let's get into the Knicks saga, because it's not a saga to me. A lot of people thought I was a clown bringing up the whole Donovan Mitchell thing, that he was coming home. He was going out to dinner with Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quigley. And I remember listening to Snug and all the different people attacking me, saying that I didn't know what I was talking about, that it was a clown act to think that Donovan Mitchell was going out with them and that he was going to be a New York Knick. What's interesting about this is that a week after I thought Donovan Mitchell was all done with going to New York, as Danny Ainge came out and said numerous amount of times that they're building around Donovan, over the last couple of days, 72 hours, Danny Ainge is taking offers. He said he called out to the NBA and all the teams throughout the NBA saying that he's willing to take offers for Donovan. Now, obviously, Donovan is probably, ladies and gentlemen, not telling Utah that he doesn't want to be a part of the rebuilding stage. And being that Donovan Mitchell wants to win a championship sometime in the next couple of years, he decided that he wants to be dealt it. So obviously the three teams that he was most interested in was the Knicks, Miami, and I think it was, I forget the other team. Was it Phoenix?
I think it was Phoenix originally, but I think they are now trying to focus more on the Durant sweepstakes.
Right. So Donovan's out of that stake, and Miami seems like they can't add him because of their salary cap issues. They're trying to sign Tyler Hero. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. So the only team right now that stands out the most, that could have a little bit of wiggle room, obviously with Julius Randle and some of the young players that they have and the amount of picks that they have for the next couple of years, is the New York Knicks. Now, Donovan Mitchell grew up a New York Knicks fan. His father played for the Mets. His father works for the Mets. So it makes a lot of sense on why he wants to come to New York. The question on what we've seen so far with the New York Knicks this offseason is, do they know where they're going when it comes to this team and where they believe they're going to be in the next couple of years? Now, obviously, adding Jalen Brunson, he's a fantastic, powerful, top-end point guard. Well, we think that he could be. We don't know. We saw what he did in Dallas. We saw what he did last year for his first big year in the playoffs. He was fantastic. Throughout this season, he averaged 16 points and I think 5 or 6 assists a game, 5.6 or something like that. Could he be an elite point guard in this league? I think that going to the Eastern Conference would make him a better player. I think it would. Now, obviously, the Eastern Conference doesn't have as much depth as the Western Conference does. And I think there's still, even though that the Eastern Conference is more top heavy, I think the Western Conference is still better, when it comes to even the bottom seed teams. Yeah. So Jalen Brunson coming to the Knicks, taking a little bit less money than going back to Dallas, and adding Donovan Mitchell to a roster of possibly RJ Barrett, Brunson, and Donovan Mitchell makes a lot of sense. And does that win him a championship? No, it's not going to win him a championship. They need one more piece. I think a veteran player that has won before that can help this team, give them a little bit more, and they need a little bit more depth on their bench. They do, which they could do at the trade deadline, maybe in a trade here and there. A veteran's minimal. We'll see what the Knicks do if they do land a Donovan Mitchell, but they need that superstar. They need that guy that they can build around. Now, RJ is becoming that, but he's not that yet. They need a guy that you can, count on with the last 3 minutes of a game, and you need a guy that could score that extra basket that can take them over the top. You look at this team, you look at the New York Knicks as a whole, this organization has been an absolute laughingstock. They have been laughed at over the years. You talk about the Brooklyn Nets when they added KD and they added Kyrie and James Harden. Everybody was making fun of the New York Knicks, that the Knicks couldn't land KD. The Knicks couldn't land Kyrie Irving. When Jimmy Butler became available, nobody thought that the Knicks had a chance for Jimmy Butler. Meanwhile, everybody thought that the Brooklyn Nets were the little brother of the New York Knicks, and they had no chance either.
And they still are.
And then with all the stuff that's happened in the offseason this year with Kyrie and KD, they don't want to be there. James Harden wanted out at the trade deadline. He gets traded to the 76ers. We're not even talking about Brooklyn anymore. The Knicks are slowly but surely trying to get themselves back a little bit on top of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if they add Donovan Mitchell and KD goes elsewhere and Kyrie goes somewhere else, could the Knicks be back on top in New York? They were never under the Brooklyn Nets. They just didn't have the talent the Brooklyn Nets have or had. You look at this team right now, are they a playoff team? Is the Knicks with Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle, with some of the young players that they have, the Obi Toppins, the Quigleys, the Grimes, are they a playoff team? The answer is no.
Yeah, I would say play-in team for them.
I don't even think they're playing.
Assuming that they don't get the, worst version of Julius Randle imaginable, like you saw last season. And now with some of the veterans traded, hopefully Thibodeau learns, maybe we should play some of the young guys. So I think they should improve, because I don't think talent-wise they're a bottom 5 team in the Eastern Conference like they showed last year, because they do have some depth. They do have some young talent on the roster. But yeah, they were definitely a fluke of where they were from where they were as a 4 seed when they made the playoffs. So that's going to be the question of the judge. Donovan Mitchell, I think, leapfrogs them into that. I would say probably the 4 through 6 range if they do end up trading for him, just because it probably will take a little bit of while to get going in that new scheme. Jalen Brunson, too, first time in that system as well. So all at once, it might be a little bit of a slow start, but I still think they'll be better than a play-in team if they do end up trading for Donovan Mitchell. What's interesting is that Quentin Grimes and Mitchell Robinson were the main centers of the trade packages, though, which I actually thought was going to be a lot more the way Danny Ainge was.
Well, it's still going to be. They're going to have to bring in a third team because Julius Randle's contract needs to go too. Right. So if Utah doesn't want Julius Randle's contract, they're going to have to move it to another team. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to bring in another team that's going to probably either add picks or players to add to Utah, or maybe have to go to the Knicks to wiggle out the contracts that have to make sense for both teams or all 3 teams.
Right. Now, what I heard so far is 3 first-round picks seems like the basis of what the Knicks are trying to trade, either their own pick in 2023 or the Dallas pick that they still have remaining, and then they'll alternate the other years. The Knicks have 2024 through 2028 available to trade to them, and from what I heard, the Knicks have up to 8 total first-round picks to use in any of those types of deals. Obviously, they're not going to trade all 8, but 3 seems like the basis of what they're doing at right now, probably starting with their own 2023 pick and moving on. But yes, a third team I think will have to take on the Julius Randle contract, because it doesn't seem like, from what we've heard,
Utah doesn't want it. No, they don't want it.
No, they're going to stick to a rebuild, and they're going to build up depth, a lot more young depth like they already did from the Minnesota trade with Gobert. So that's the path they're on right now. They're going to have to get a third team involved for Randle, and that might be tricky considering, one, how how badly he played last year with young players, and 2, just how inefficient he was in a league where you have to shoot efficiently.
What's interesting about this, and listen, I don't know where Donovan Mitchell is going. It doesn't mean that he's going to the Knicks. I know everybody on these posts are making fun that Donovan Mitchell was spotted in New York City having lunch. I know you guys want to make jokes, and that's fine. Crack jokes, that's fine. But you were cracking jokes last week, even though I took back thinking that Donovan Mitchell was going to be a Knick. And now all of a sudden it's coming out that that the Knicks are the lead team to get him. All of a sudden, after 72 hours, Danny Ainge came out and said that he's willing to take offers. That is not a coincidence on why he went to dinner or lunch with Emmanuel Quigley or any of the players like Obi Toppin with the Knicks. Now, that again, I'm going to go back to this. The question is, if the Knicks get Donovan Mitchell and they keep RJ and they keep they have obviously Jalen Brunson, and maybe they move on with Julius Randle and they have made maybe 1 or 2 pieces. Are the Knicks the favorite in a top, in a top-heavy Eastern Conference to come out as a 4 seed? Now, I don't know if they're a 4 seed. They could be a 5th or 6th seed. Mm-hmm. I think they're right there with the middle of the pack teams until we figure out what Donovan Mitchell is going to be in this offense, what Jalen Brunson is going to be in this offense, how good this defense is going to be.
Right.
Because we don't know what's going to happen with this defense. And Tom Thibodeau, we have seen veteran players, and Mitch, even though Donovan Mitchell is a veteran, and you'll look at him, he's 25 years old, he's still considered a veteran. So is Brunson. You sit here today, are these guys going to fit in the culture that Tom Thibodeau is trying to bring this team to be? And that's defense first, offense second. Donovan Mitchell is a decent defensive player. He's not a great defensive player. He's a decent defensive player. Jalen Brunson's an okay defensive player. Yeah. These guys are not top-end defensive players. Now, being that Derrick Rose is there, he's coming off the bench, and some of the veteran players that they have there, I heard that they're still thinking about bringing Taj Gibson back when they figure out what they're doing if this Donovan Mitchell trade goes, right, with Mitchell and stuff Robinson, like that. Yeah. They could still bring Taj Gibson back on a very small contract to be one of the leaders of this team to help some of the younger players figure out the defensive style of game that Tom Thibodeau is going to want them to play.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, with Donovan Mitchell, because it's when he came into the league, he actually was thought of as a better defensive player and had to evolve his offense more. And now it's kind of gone the other way. Not that he's a bad defender. He's still a good defender.
He's a good defender. Yeah. He's much better than Jalen Brunson,
yes,
but he's not looked at as a defensive player.
Yeah, he's not thought of as like this juggernaut defensive point guard that's going to make an all NBA defensive team, either the first or the second team. But I would say for his position, he's a good defender. So I'm not as worried about him transitioning with Thibodeau. What I'm worried about more is the minutes usage, the way that he wore out a lot of these veteran players.
It's just so interesting to see, with all the different things that have happened so far this offseason with the NBA, and it all stems up to this Kyrie and KD move that could happen in the next couple of weeks. If Donovan Mitchell goes to the New York Knicks, no matter where KD goes, no matter where Kyrie goes, this Donovan Mitchell move will be a move that really sticks out in the offseason. And why? And nobody's talking about Rudy Gobert. Now, is Rudy Gobert the missing piece to this Timberwolves team to take them over the hump, maybe become a championship competitive team? Only time will tell. Rudy Gobert is a defensive-minded team. That was what they lacked in the playoffs last year. That is what they lacked in the second half of the season. They do have Anthony Edwards. They do have Karl Anthony Towns. They have stars on that team. But one player is not going to get them over the hump, as well as the New York Knicks. Donovan Mitchell is not going to take them over the hump. Now, if you guys remember 2 years ago, Julius Randle was becoming a star right in front of our eyes. Now, before the fans started getting into the stadiums and there was no fans, I think Julius Randle played better when there were no fans. When the fans started coming in, his numbers started to dip, and it's been dipping ever since then. Now, could he handle New York? Who knows? Donovan Mitchell, I think, can. He's been there his whole life. His father played there. I think he can handle the New York crowd. He's a New Yorker. He grew up there. He understands what it's like to play Madison Square Garden. And a matter of fact, if you look at Donovan Mitchell's numbers at Madison Square Garden, they're incredible. They are incredible numbers. He averages almost 25 points a game. He's averaging almost 6 assists a game and about, I think it's 7 or 8 rebounds a game when he plays in Madison Square Garden. Now, the question is, him coming to New York and taking the pressure on as the superstar of this team, not RJ Barrett. It'll take a little pressure off the kid, take a little pressure off maybe Jalen Brunson. Can he be the leader of this team to take them to that next level? He wasn't there. He wasn't that for Utah. He wasn't. And that's what scares me about this Donovan Mitchell. Finally, the Knicks get a superstar. Is he going to be like Carmelo Anthony, a guy that's going to get his points, get his numbers, but never take this team to that next level? You need a player that's going to get you to that next level.
Carl says, if all those moves happened, they still wouldn't be better than the Bulls. Yeah, we're kind of putting them in the same range, 4 through 6, about that, as where the Bulls finished last season. Snug says he's not a defensive liability like Marcus Smart. Everybody is talking about how bad Danny Ainge fleeced the Timberwolves. Yes, and but again, that wasn't enough to sway Donovan Mitchell.
Well, you don't know if they fleeced him. The Timberwolves, here's the thing. If the Timberwolves are a top seed in the Western Conference, those picks are going to be 28, 27, 26. Yeah. He didn't fleece anything because if Rudy Gobert gives him that next head. Now, Rudy Gobert could absolutely hurt the chemistry of that team, and that team could turn out to be the Brooklyn Nets. Right. But Rudy Gobert isn't 33, 34-year-old Kevin Garnett or 35-year-old Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, who's 34, 35, and they're on their way out. Rudy Gobert is 28, 29 years old. Yeah. He's in the prime of his career, and he's an elite defender.
Yeah, I think of him as an essential piece to help out their biggest weakness, which was their inside defense, because Karl Anthony Towns is skill-wise a little more of a 4. He's a good defender, but I wouldn't say he's like top-notch, not a traditional big man type. And it'll allow him to space the floor better, be able to, 1, guard the perimeter, and 2, help out his offensive game. Now, that being said, they still have to improve their own depth too, which now they're going to have to do with their own roster. So from that standpoint, we'll see if those pieces that they traded away hurt them in terms of that, because their depth played well in the playoffs last year against the Grizzlies, outplaying the Grizzlies' depth, which is very good at certain points of that series. So that's the one thing that concerns me. But yeah, it's definitely possible if the Timberwolves take that maybe 7 seed to 3 seed type leap, that all of a sudden you're looking at them, I wouldn't say fleecing them necessarily. It also depends on how those other big men develop too in that system, especially with a new coach now. Carl says the numbers are incredible because he's playing the Knicks.
Yeah, probably.
Again,
but it's still Madison Square Garden. And we've seen the Knicks defend against good players in Madison Square Garden. So you say it's the Knicks, but Tom Thibodeau's defense has stopped pretty good players over the last 2 years. So Donovan Mitchell going to Madison Square Garden, he only plays once or twice every year. Once a year in Madison Square Garden. I mean, it shows a lot for what he could do in Madison Square. Now, he has to do it week in and day out in Madison Square Garden. Right. Could he do it? Can he take the pressure on his shoulders and be the leader of this team? Only time will tell. He couldn't handle it in Utah. And New York is a bigger stage, more pressure, and they're going to, the fans are going to expect a lot from Donovan Mitchell, especially if the Knicks are going to trade away pieces like Quentin Grimes, who everybody wants. It's crazy. Yeah. Every single trade we've heard, even Atlanta going into the year last year at the trade deadline, everybody wanted Quentin Grimes, and the Knicks were not willing to trade off Quentin Grimes. Now, again, you're hearing Quentin Grimes' name being brought up. And I've told everybody, watching Quentin Grimes in certain games this year, he reminds me of a young Devin Booker. Now, Devin Booker's a sensational player, and we have to see what Grimes could do every single game, playing a ton of minutes, 25, 30 minutes. If he is that type of player and he's that type of shooter, the Knicks could, obviously be giving up a good young player for the future. Donovan Mitchell, obviously the Knicks had a chance to get a couple of years ago. They decided to get Frank Ntilikina. They were wrong. They weren't wrong. Phil Jackson was wrong. And Donovan Mitchell was, I think, drafted at 13 or 14.
Yep.
And he went to Utah, and Donovan Mitchell became one of the best players, if not the best player in that draft class. So, by the way, the Knicks, Steve Mills wanted to draft Donovan Mitchell. If you remember, it's Phil Jackson didn't think he would fit in the triangle offense, and Phil Jackson's no longer there. He's probably still getting paid by the Knicks.
Yeah, I think he is for 2 more years. But yes, that's what happens when your past stubbornness takes over, Phil Jackson. And you just want everybody to run the triangle because it worked for the Lakers and it worked for the Bulls. So
it also works for the Golden State Warriors.
Well, yes. But again, they also have a very different evolution of that system. The Knicks were trying to do it like pretty straightforward, tough nose triangle.
You don't have Michael Jordan, it's not going to work.
Yeah. You don't have Michael Jordan, it's not going to work. You don't have anyone close
to Bryant,
Kobe, or Michael Jordan, or anyone on that
2017 gifted that can get to the hole at will and do the things that he can do, on the perimeter. Right. The Knicks don't have a play. Now, Donovan Mitchell, if they had Donovan Mitchell, I thought Donovan Mitchell, you watch the speed and the way he plays the game. I think Donovan Mitchell could have played the triangle very, very well. I really do. It made no sense, but nobody thought Donovan Mitchell would be this kind of offensive player.
No,
I mean,
not out of the draft. He wasn't a great shooter in college. He had to develop that later. He was a good passer. He was a good defender in college, but he led his team in scoring, but it was really only at like 12 points a game too on a good Louisville team. So again, that was never thought of as something that could be like this in a shooting league, a knockdown shooter type. And for the modern point guards at that time that everyone was saying, let's build up these great back courts. That's probably why he ended up falling in that draft because of that. Yes, Carl, Phil is getting Bobby Bonilla money. Well, no, he's only played 2 more years. Bobby Bonilla still paid till 2035.
There's so many people the Knicks were paying over the years. Derek Fisher, I think came off of off the pay grid. I mean, there are a couple of people, a couple of coaches. Jeff Hornacek was still getting paid, I think, over the last 2 years. Yep. I mean, the Knicks and say whatever you want about James Dolan. He is not a great owner. We all know what he is and what he says and how racist he is. We all know about him. Okay. But James Dolan does not, think cheaply of his teams. He actually opens up his pockets and pays his teams and pays his players. So Carmelo Anthony got the big contract. If Donovan Mitchell comes in, I'm sure he's going to want an extension. Yeah. So I expect that, James Dolan to give whatever it needs to be given to get these guys in and happy on his team and for his organizations. The whole Steph Curry thing, reaching out to Kevin Durant, I don't think this is a story. I don't. I do believe that the lead team to get him, because of the players and the pieces that they have, are the Golden State Warriors. The reason why is they can add Andrew Wiggins, they can add Wiseman and somebody else, a pool in a trade to land a Kevin Durant. And if Kevin Durant goes to Golden State, you might as well call the season to be over. Okay, because if Steph Curry, KD, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, again, are on a team, even though they don't have that young depth, they're going to win. They're going to win. And I do not like the Golden State Warriors. If KD goes to the Golden State Warriors, they're going to win in the next 2 years. Because you're adding a guy that can average 28 points. Steph Curry can average 23 to 25 when he's there. Klay Thompson can average 20. Draymond Green could give you, 14. Who's going to beat this team?
Their own injuries.
Who's going to beat them?
That's the only thing that can stop them. It's what stops.
I don't want to see it happen, but they have the pieces to make that move.
Their own injuries will probably be the only thing. It's the same thing we were saying when they brought in DeMarcus Cousins in 2018 too. When they thought, oh, that's the next super team, KD with that big 4, and then bringing DeMarcus Cousins to round out the big man. They didn't win that year because they had a lot of injuries, and then they lost in the finals against Toronto.
Well, they'll probably add Draymond Green because he's a max player, so he would have to be involved with the trade.
That's fair.
So maybe Draymond Green, Poole, Wiseman, and somebody else or somebody like that. I don't know what they're going to add, but they can, if they add Kevin Durant to 3 of those guys or 4 of those guys, Andrew Wiggins stays there. You have Andrew Wiggins, Steph Curry, KD, and Klay Thompson there. I mean, they're going to be pretty unstoppable. Who's going to beat them?
Yeah, their own injuries would be the only thing that
nobody's going to beat them. Not even injuries. KD, he's not tearing his Achilles again unless he tears his ACL. Don't think that's going to happen. Klay Thompson's already done that to his leg, so I think Klay Thompson will be fine. They're going to be unstoppable, and then we're going to be watching the NBA again. Everything's going to go through Golden State again. I don't want to see that. I hope it doesn't happen. But the team that really stands out to me that can make that move for what the Nets want, a slew of picks and young players, it's the Golden State Warriors.
Snark says, I want to be Bobby Bonilla when I go up. Josh says, Ricky DiPietro money. Snark says, breaking news, Phil Jackson and Isaiah Thomas are forming an NBA draft consulting firm. Knicks are reported to be very interested. Josh says, I would say I want to be Rick DiPietro, but Errol will kick my ass.
You're probably right.
I'll
kick his ass too.
Yes. Snark says, I wouldn't mind being Ricky D either. That's good work if you get it.
Could you imagine me working at ESPN and have to seeing Rick DiPietro every other day? Could you imagine me walking through the same studio areas of ESPN and seeing that guy? I think it would be a brawl. I think it would be. They'll have press coverage of me and him. I'll call Rick DiPietro out any day he wants to have a celebrity or broadcasting boxing match with me. I would love to get in the ring with Rick DiPietro. Mm-hmm. I would love it.
The latest.
I would love it.
The latest.
I'll tie one of my arms behind my back I'll still kick his ass.
Errol Marks versus Rick DiPietro, the latest in boxing.
I'll do whatever he wants. You want a slap boxing contest? I'll do whatever you want. Sumo wrestling contest? I'll do whatever you want. I'm going to whip your ass.
Carl says, Vinny Castilla, a.k.a. Vinny Cash, steals with the Rays. Yes, there's also that one. I forgot about that. Stuck says, Kung Fu Panda in Boston, and he broke the bank and his belt. Josh says, well, definitely not with Rockies in relation to Castilla. Carl says, only defense would be a hardworking AC system. Yes, Greg Popovich in that arena. Yes, make that work. And blow the ball in the air. Stuck says, throw Jake Paul in there for a three-way boxing match. And Josh says, just thought we were getting Jeff and Tyler. Guess that's
not gonna happen because Tyler doesn't want to fight Jeff.
No.
Tyler backed out of Jeff. How many times did I try to get Tyler to get in a ring? He can't. Jeff was in Rhode Island. Okay.
Right.
Now Jeff would have absolutely fought Tyler anywhere from Rhode Island to here. Tyler didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler chickened out. He could say whatever he wants. He chickened out.
And he was the one who mentioned it first. That's the funny part.
Aaron Judge hits another home run, solo home run. They're still down 4-2. Could you imagine this? The Yankees are down 4-2 against this Cincinnati Reds team.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. It really is.
This is the letdown series, the one they're taking lightly.
Yeah,
after the weird series they had against the Red Sox.
But I would love to fight Rick DiPietro, but that will never happen. That will never happen. I don't even know why I would waste my time even talking about it. It would never happen. But who would have thought that? I mean, sitting here today, does anybody think that out of all these teams that the Golden State Warriors are not the lead team to get him? I honestly, there is nobody. I know he wanted to go to Miami. Golden State wasn't even in talks. I know Phoenix offered their package. They just matched DeAndre Ayton, which Jeff said they were going to do. Shout out to Jeff. He thought that the Phoenix Suns were going to match it. I didn't. I thought he doesn't. I don't think Phoenix wants him there. Now, I think they matched it because I still believe that they're going to use DeAndre Ayton as a trade piece to maybe get KD.
Yeah, you have to keep that option open, too, because if you lose DeAndre Ayton for nothing, then you don't even have that trade chip to get that third guy, and all of a sudden you're getting a lot worse and really trusting your young players in bigger roles at that point. So you have to try something, even if you do have to overpay a little, which I think the Pacers did to an extent. I don't think it was bad, 4 years, 133, but it is something that is a lot of money for a guy that's really only developed the last 2-3 years, and still young, still with some upside, but still, the Suns did it mainly to push for that kind of thing to happen for the last chance.
What flavor cupcake do you like?
What me? I like anything chocolate based with with another type of frosting, not chocolate frosting.
I like the really like gooey like vanilla frosting. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like I like a lot of frosting on my cupcake. Because if I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna have a cupcake, I want it to taste good. I don't want some of this like crap. Did you ever have those Entenmann cupcakes that for Halloween? You ever have those?
Yes, a while ago.
Those are delicious.
Yeah.
Those are delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I always stole them. Whenever my parents bought them for us when we were kids, I always stole them and brought them up there, and I would eat all 6 cupcakes. I was skinny that time. You know what I mean? I'm built and stuff like that. But if I ate 6 cupcakes, I probably have like diabetes or something like that. But I love those Halloween cupcakes. They're delicious. So
speaking of cupcakes, Slug says, I will fight cupcakes anywhere, anytime. I am undefeated. Yes, I'm sure you are. Carl says, how about Schwarber mashing the ball again? Yes, good. That's the one thing he can do is hit home runs. Congratulations. Josh says, Philly still suck naturally. Stuck says, vanilla classic. OMG, it's the first thing Earl and I agree about. There can't be too much icing on a cupcake.
Oh, I would agree with that with Snug. I like the icing. That's the best part of the cupcake. I mean, I would you know what I used to do with cupcakes? I used to take the frosting off the cupcakes, lick the frosting, and
first,
then I wouldn't even eat the bottom of the cupcake. Sometimes I would just steal. You know, with those Entenmann's, the chocolate was on top, and you could take the chocolate off and leave the cupcake. I would eat the chocolate on top and not even eat the cupcake. That was my favorite part.
Interesting.
You know,
that's interesting. I know people have done that with Oreos too and stuff like that.
I love Oreos too. I know Mikey C does too. I'll tell you. You know, he likes
we're not going there again.
Well, he does. He does stupid things with it. Mikey C is a very interesting cat. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes, the same person who claimed he's 90% right.
Well, he claims a lot of things. I claim he's an idiot. That's just it. But that's Mikey C for you. But Mikey C will be joining us sometime in the next couple of weeks too. He told me he's going to come on the show and get involved with the craziness on the show because he thinks that he's the only reason why this show would be listened throughout the country.
Of course he does.
But Mikey C has something craning up his ass. But anyways, getting back into the KD thing, I'm not surprised that Golden State is the lead team to get him. I still think Phoenix could absolutely steal him from whoever's interested in him. The question is, if KD wants to go to Phoenix, I think he will push more to go to Phoenix than Golden State. Now, I don't know if he has the control to do that, but he could also tell the Brooklyn Nets he doesn't want to play for Golden State.
Right.
Now, Steph Curry reaching out to KD tells you that Steph is trying to make this happen. And if it does happen, I mean, the NBA should be really, I think Adam Silver should step in just like David Stern stepped in when the Lakers almost got Chris Paul.
Right.
Because this is not fair. This would make this would pretty much hand the championship over to the Golden State Warriors again.
I wanted them to do that in 16 when Kevin Durant first went there. I thought that was too much as it was, and they didn't stop it then. So I doubt Adam Silver's going to stop it now at this point.
Adam Silver,
6 years later,
he's not David Stern. David Stern at least had balls,
Right.
okay? Adam Silver has something else, all right?
No.
I'm not going to say on live radio.
Adam Silver has some kind of inside contract.
He doesn't have the kahunas to tell, go and tell the teams that are looking to trade for KD that it's got to be a fair trade. It's got to make sense.
Adam Silver has some inside contract with the Golden State Warriors or something.
I don't know. It's annoying to me when you hear Steph Curry reaching out to KD. They're plotting again. This is not the way the NBA worked in the 80s and the 90s. Okay, that never happened. These players aren't reaching out to players. They hated each other. Now all of a sudden they're kissing each other's ass, going to each other's weddings. It's boring.
Carl says, Speedy brings up Oreos and said we aren't going there. Come on, Speedy, horse or bear? What are you talking about? Which one is more likely to eat an Oreo, Carl? Snug says, Steph Curry and I go eat cupcakes together every Saturday. Sometimes sometimes he steals cupcakes off other people's plates, but I'm cool with it. They are really good cupcakes. And naturally, Snug says, Mikey C is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised he said that.
Yes. So, Snug's one of his top 3 people of his list. Probably along with Jeff and Anchorage Man at this point, the way he's talking about him as his favorite guest.
It's interesting when you look at this DeAndre Ayton thing. And I'll say this. DeAndre Ayton is a good player. Is he a record-paying player? He's not. This rookie contract that he's getting, 4 years, $133 million, is breaking records. When Jeff told me today that, and I said, that's not a big contract. And he says, no, this is his rookie contract. He's making $30-something million still on his rookie contract. I think it's ridiculous. DeAndre Ayton's a good player. He is not an elite player. He's not an elite player. He's not a top 10 player. He's not even a top 20 player. I would say he's a top 30 player.
Yeah.
That's where I think he is. He'll give you 14, 15 points. He'll give you about 8, 9 rebounds, and he'll give you 2 blocks. He's not going to give you that all-around game that's going to sell you. He's not a big man that could shoot threes either. A lot of these NBAs, Al Horford developed a three-point shot. Right. You look at all these guys. Rudy Gobert didn't, and that's why Rudy Gobert, I was very surprised they got as much as they got for Rudy Gobert because he didn't change his game. And I think Aaron Hicks got a home run. Is that Glaber Torres? 2-run home run ties the game. So the Yankees are tied 4-4. Glaber Torres is hot right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking at this deal, which the Pacers gave him, and then the Suns match. The only reason why the Phoenix Suns matched this contract is because they're still in the hunt for KD. They were not interested in bringing back DeAndre Ayton. As a matter of fact, DeAndre Ayton didn't want to go back there. Now, I know he said Chris Paul's like an older brother and his game has gotten so much better with Chris Paul. Does it really make a difference? Because he doesn't want to be there. He has no interest of being there. Right. So the only reason why I think they made this move and they matched this was because they don't want to lose a piece that they can use as a trade chip, like you said, Speedy.
Yeah, not only that, I think that's a lot of money pushing right away for any team to give either extremely good for the Suns or the Pacers who are trying to rebuild as it is. Like, there's probably no middle ground team that would have given it to him. The Suns are doing it as a last-ditch effort. If he's on the roster still, if you fail to get KD, all right, you just run it back with him, fine, or you use him in another trade if there's some other star that's available that Chris Paul or Devin Booker wants to bring in, and they'll want to make it work to be that missing piece of the championship team. If not, he's still on the roster. He's still improving every year. He's still a good player, top 30 player, like we said. Again, I think he's overpaid for a guy that really only started developing the last 2 years, but 4 years, 133. Look at Jalen Brunson's contract, 4 years, 104. I would say probably a little better than that, but he's probably in the 4 years, 115 range for DeAndre Ayton. In terms
Is
of
DeAndre Ayton that much better than Jalen Brunson?
I think he's better, but not that much. I would say.
I don't think he's better than Jalen Brunson. I'm not saying Jalen Brunson is a great player. I'm saying he's a good player. Yeah. That's what DeAndre Ayton is. He's a good player. He's not an elite player out of his position.
Right. I only say,
is he a top 10 big man in the league? He's not.
No, but again, the upside's still there. So I think he probably would get a little more than that.
If he doesn't develop a 3-point shot, there is no upside.
I would say though, he's not a liability shooting.
Dwight Howard is how old right now in the NBA? 33,
38 or something.
Is he 30? I think he's less than that.
I'd be surprised if he was that.
He came into the league when he was 17, 18 years old. He was a high school player.
Okay. Dwight Howard is 36. So
right, he's 36.
How about in between?
He's 36. Okay. Dwight Howard hasn't been an elite player for like 5 years.
No.
Why? Because the game has changed.
Yeah.
He can't shoot threes. He can't shoot free throws. DeAndre Ayton's a decent free throw shooter. He's not a great free throw shooter. I think his free throws, I think he's a 69% free throw shooter. And he doesn't shoot threes. So how is his game going to get better?
Yeah, I think there's still time though at this point for a guy that still has had good shooting spurts in the league. I don't think he's like not a great range guy. 3-point percentage, he only shot 25. He only shoots very small percentages of them too. Only half of
17 and 10 guy that last year, and his career is 16 and 10. So he's going to give you 10 rebounds. He's going to give you probably 2 blocks a game. He can't stay healthy. I mean, last year he only played 58 games.
Okay.
I mean, is he a good player? I do. I think he's a good player. Elite? I don't.
Elite? No. That's why we're saying top 30 before. I also think though,
has he ever been in an All-Star game?
No, because he only started really developing the last 2 years. So
when Chris Paul went there.
So as a result, two things factor into this. One, I don't think on that team, because CP3 and Devin Booker are there, and now even on some of these other young wings that they have, he hasn't needed to shoot threes. That's not his role. So I don't think he's necessarily like unskilled at it. I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's terribly unskilled like you would say he's a shooting liability type thing. And two, we'll see with the Pacers, if he does end up staying there or if he goes back to the Suns, we'll see. He might end up having to shoot more. And
there is one thing I could say he's better than. I would definitely pay the money for. I would pay him more than Ben Simmons because at least he can shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben Simmons can't hit a shot if you paid him to. Well, they are paying him to. They're overpaying him to. But I think when you look at DeAndre Ayton, what DeAndre Ayton is going to give you, would the Knicks use a player like 17 and 10 of his stature? Absolutely. There are many teams that would use DeAndre Ayton. He fits a lot of different teams. But an elite player that's going to get that kind of money, I know everybody's going to say you can't knock a player that's trying to get the money. I'm not knocking it. I'm knocking the team. Overpaying a player that's not worth that kind of money.
Right.
Now, can he get better? Yeah, he can get better. How much better? I don't know how much better is he going to get if he doesn't develop a shot. And it's not easy as a big man at 23 years old to figure out how to shoot a 3-point shot.
I just think if we've seen veteran big men try to evolve, like you were saying with Horford, I think Blake Griffin too, to an extent, he wasn't a great shooter when he was a young player, kind of developed it later in his career too. If somebody like that could do it, there's still time I would give for DeAndre Ayton at 23 years old to be able to do so, even if it isn't his main trait ever at any point in his career. And I don't expect it to be his main trait at any point in his career, especially if he stays with the Suns too, because of the backcourt that they have. And depending on what other wings they end up keeping, trading, whatever, depending on what they do with KD, that's going to be another big question too. But they're not going to need him to shoot at that kind of volume at that point. So that could be a reason why he hasn't developed it yet. But he still is capable of shooting, stepping back if he needs to at any point. He just doesn't have the same range.
Going back to Golden State, I'm very surprised that Golden State would even be offering any of these young players. And the reason why is because this team already won a championship this past year. They have a chance to win back-to-back championships with the team they have, with now a healthy Wiseman and a team that has done it before. Now altogether, this team has won it. So they're going into the season with a little bit more of an edge with Wiseman back in the lineup. So for the fact that they're going after KD now, it just shows you that they don't think they can repeat. They don't think that they're good enough when maybe going into this offseason with some of these players moving. Now, the East could get stronger. If Donovan Mitchell goes to the Knicks, now, it depends if KD and Kyrie stay in Brooklyn. But if, let's say, KD and Kyrie stay there for another year and the Knicks get Donovan Mitchell, I mean, obviously the Eastern Conference has gotten better. The Atlanta Hawks got better.
Oh, yeah.
So you're slowly seeing that the Eastern Conference is coming back to what it was in the 90s, where the 90s, it was the Eastern Conference, not the Western Conference, where you wanted to play. Because it was, well, you didn't want to play because it was more dominant.
Well, yeah, and there were only a couple really good teams in the West at that time too. And
yeah, it was one really.
I don't think it was really ever to the extreme that like we saw.
It wasn't even the Lakers. I think it was
Phoenix and the Jazz and what would you say, Houston at that time?
It was Houston.
Houston. Okay. Yeah, it fluctuated with probably those three.
And San Antonio.
San Antonio was
starting to come up
kind of later though.
With Tim Duncan.
Yeah, once Tim Duncan
and David Robinson.
But I think wasn't that after though the six championships?
In the 90s.
Yeah, okay.
I think Tim Duncan was drafted. If I'm not
he was
mistaken,
drafted in 96.
96?
96.
Was it 96? So
and then I think they won the first championship in 99. Then when they beat the Knicks, when the Knicks were the 8th seed.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
and that year, if the Bulls actually played and Michael Jordan didn't retire,
right,
the Bulls would have won the championship again.
Right.
That would have been 7 in a row.
Yeah. So they kind of took over them, but I don't think it was ever as extreme.
Well, not 7 in a row. But that would have been
7 in 9 years.
Yeah, that would have been 4 in a row.
Yeah. So nevertheless, I think the Eastern Conference was never as strong as not as strong. The Western Conference was never as weak as the Eastern Conference was, I would say 5 years ago, when you had like these below 500 teams making it as 6 seeds. But that's a big problem I've had with the NBA playoff structure as it is. But yes, the Eastern Conference is definitely creeping up, though. You mentioned the Bulls as well. The Cavaliers, another rising young team that could definitely be in the mix. And again, if the Knicks trade for Donovan Mitchell,
they're missing a star. The Cavaliers, they have a growing young player that could be a star. But they need a star. They need a superstar. Just like the Knicks. They needed that guy. RJ is a growing star, but we don't know if he's going to become that superstar. Donovan Mitchell is a sure thing. He is a superstar in his league. So if the Knicks could get Donovan Mitchell, yeah, it puts them on edge where there'll be players that want to go play there. Especially bringing Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Jalen Brunson is a leader. He everything we've heard over there in Dallas, he was the leader of that team. It wasn't Luka Doncic. It was Jalen Brunson that was the leader of that team. And Jason Kidd speaks nothing but high praise for a guy like Jalen Brunson. For the fact that Jalen Brunson wanted to come back home and play in New York tells you the type of player that he is.
Mm-hmm. I also am more curious, too, if this kind of thing where, remember when the Knicks are going after KD and Kyrie 3 years ago, they were kind of attached.
They weren't going after them.
They were kind of attached to the
They
hip,
were
though.
not going after KD. They didn't even give him an offer. They never were going after KD.
But they were thought
It
of.
was a rumor.
Okay, they were thought of, too. Nevertheless, I don't think Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brunson is attached to any other certain player at the moment where it's going to hold.
Do you know that
anything
for a
back.
fact?
Not that I know of. Donovan Mitchell hasn't been rumored of anything where they're
Why was Julius Randle, Allen Houston, and Worldwide West at the Dallas and Utah playoff series? And by the way, we're talking with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell.
No, I mean for a free agency type thing where the Knicks,
obviously they were connected.
Yeah, but Jalen Brunson was a free agent. Donovan Mitchell would be a trade in this case. And then if there was a third free agent that would want to come to the Knicks, what I'm saying is I don't think Donovan Mitchell has leverage in terms, or not leverage.
Every player in the NBA has leverage. Every one of them.
Yeah, that was the wrong word. I was more getting at the fact that free agents, there's another free agent spot for a max contract if they were to trade Julius Randle in a potential Donovan Mitchell.
If Donovan Mitchell wants to go to the Knicks, he'll go to the Knicks. Mm-hmm. It's facts. That's the NBA. It's not the NFL. It's not the NHL. It's not even baseball. If a player says he only wants to play for this team, he won't play for anybody else, you have to trade him there. Because if he goes to a team that he doesn't want to be or play for, he could do whatever he wants on sitting the bench, causing ruckus, not really being happy over there with that organization. So if Donovan Mitchell wants to be a Knick, he'll be a Knick, no matter what. Mm-hmm. To Julius Randle, even if the Knicks don't have the salary room to get him.
Right. And again, it might be a third team that gets in there, and they might even get some other assets from that too. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns right now with this, but the fact that Quentin Grimes and Mitchell Robinson are the main centerpieces is definitely encouraging.
They're not the main centerpieces. It's just that's a rumor. The main source right now is Julius Randle, because the only way this trade goes down is if Julius Randle's contract comes off the board. There's no way this contract's going to go through. This trade's going to go through if Julius Randle's contract is still on board. And that's why it makes it so weird, because Julius Randle was the recruiter to bring in these two guys. How did it make sense in the long run? Because they weren't trading RJ. They were never. They said he was untouchable. Right. So how were they going to bring him in? Now, if they could somehow fit Donovan Mitchell with Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, and Jalen Brunson, watch out. The Knicks are going to be dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Snug says if Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
That can't happen, I don't think.
No.
I don't think it can.
No, because I think Julius Randle's on a regular max contract.
Unless RJ, they don't extend RJ this year.
Yeah, that would be the only thing. Because this is Randle's last year, so then they could let him go and then extend Barrett.
Is it his last year? I think he has 2 more years.
No, I thought he had 3 years on his contract.
He signed it last year, didn't he? So this was.
Oh, you're right. That's right. The new extension.
There's 2
years.
Right.
You're right. I forgot about that.
There's 2 years.
Yeah, they would have to then trade him the next offseason too, which then could get tricky. And yeah, that would make it interesting. But yeah, I don't know if they could make that work in that case. Snug says if Tim Duncan and David Robinson had a baby, would it be Dim Dobinson? D Mitch to the Sixers to play with the running beard. They don't have enough room right now. Carl said Jared Cook to Tampa Bay, and maybe possibly there. If Grock doesn't come back, I definitely wouldn't rule it out. Snug says
we'll get into football a little later in the show. I promise you.
Snug says Anchorage Man and Garrard are tied. Both are excellent.
What is this with the Anchorage Man?
He's Snug and Jeff's favorite guest.
Who cares? He's not on the show tonight.
No, he's not on the show tonight.
When we get him on again, you could tell him that you love him.
Yes, and that is the case. Snug says, knowing the Knicks, they will release Randle. No, I don't think they'll release Randle.
They can't release him
because it would be too much of a buyout.
It would be too much of a cap hit
if they were doing it.
Now, if the Knicks could listen, if the Knicks really want Donovan Mitchell and the only way they can get rid of Julius Randle is buy him out, they'll do it. I could see it. If James Dolan knows that Donovan Mitchell is a piece that can take them to the next level, they'll do it. They'll buy him out. And what they could do is they could really buy him out and then bring him back on a lower contract. They could do that. I don't think the Knicks are going to do it, but again, if whatever the Knicks have to do to get Donovan Mitchell, that's what's going to happen. Any loudmouth shirts coming out. That's a good idea. We should do it.
I know you had your other company that you were trying to.
No, I haven't had a chance to start.
No,
yet.
I know. I was going to say you haven't had time. But Carl, I know
we could do that.
I know if Errol were to start that up again, I'm sure he'd get through that shirt before Alex Slows got you his.
You know what? I might do that. I can make the shirts myself.
Make Carl a shirt just to get it in before Alex.
I can make my shirts
a year ago.
I can make those shirts myself. I really could. I have everything to do it. That's a good idea, Carl. Maybe I'll do that and send it out to people because I know people want that. I had a friend of mine told me to send me a loudmouth shirt, but I haven't had a chance to even think about designing one. But that's a good idea. I think people like the show, and I think fans would absolutely love to wear those shirts. And I know the perfect colors for an orange shirt. Orange shirt with the logo. I think orange really is appealing. It stands out. I think it would be cool.
There you go, Carl. The color of your Chicago Bears, aka your dysfunctional football franchise.
There's a lot of dysfunctional football franchises, including my team, the Jets, over the years.
So they're in better shape than the Bears are right now, though.
Yes. Because they have a GM that actually knows how to draft. And the Bears, I don't know what the hell they're doing because they need wide receivers and they draft, for some reason, tight ends. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
2 secondary pieces, no offensive line. They drafted 1 offensive lineman last year. And
in a few minutes, we're going to have ex-New York Giant, 2-time Super Bowl champion running back Brandon Jacobs. He will be joining our show. It's going to be fun. Brandon has never been on our show with video, so this will be fun. Something he's heard our voices a couple of times, but he's never seen us. So it will be interesting to see what Brandon Jacobs is going to say. We'll get into a little bit of a Giants conversation of the NFC and his thoughts of where the NFL is moving with obviously some of these elite teams in the AFC. So Brandon Jacobs will be joining us in just a few moments, but it's so interesting with the NBA and the way the NBA the way the NBA works now. And the players run the league. as LeBron James has really changed the outlook of where this league is going and the transition of this league, not for the good, but for the worse. And now I look at players like this, like DeAndre Ayton, which I understand the players deserve whatever money they get, are getting overpaid for really not achieving the superstardom that he was supposed to be and supposed to come to as a Phoenix Sun when he was drafted.
And I think that the upside is maybe something that could be leverage of the Suns using him in that kind of trade, but also for him to get the money that he wanted too. And that's what I think maybe the Pacers were banking on for the 4 years, 133. Now the Suns are going to have to match it in order to keep hope up for this trade. But still, that's what they're banking on at this point, to maybe him to develop into that modern type big man. Because we were talking about it last week with a lot of our basketball guests.
He's not going to transition into that. None of these guys at 23 years old, the way they play the game, is ever transition into that. The only person I've ever seen transition into a shooting type of big man is Al Horford. Al Horford's a different beast. He's a different type of player. He has the wherewithal to try to change his game. DeAndre Ayton he is who he is. He's never going to change. So keep saying that. It's never going to happen.
Well, I would say I would just give it a chance. I would give it a chance
happen
for somebody 23 in comparison to Al Horford, who developed it.
How much you want to bet he doesn't change his game?
Depends on where he goes. I think with the Suns, he's not going to have to change his game because he is what he is for the Suns. I think if he stays with the Pacers, or if the Suns don't match the offer and he goes,
Pacers aren't going to change.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to be able to do that. I think Rick Carlisle could get something out of him.
Rick Carlisle's not going to have his big man shooting threes.
Not.
Have you ever seen a Rick Carlisle big man team ever do that? I've never. Go look at all the Rick Carlisle teams on Indiana before he went to Dallas and then went back to Indiana. I've never seen it. Never.
Because he hasn't had to, because they had Dirk.
Dirk
did it himself.
Stop making an excuse. And Dirk Nowitzki wasn't even really considered a big man.
Okay,
he wasn't. He was a power forward.
Okay,
a shooting power forward.
But that's what the league is now. They want more of those 4 types.
DeAndre Ayton is not Dirk Nowitzki.
I didn't say he was. I'm saying if he develops at least part of that, he could be something, which I still think he's capable.
Snug, you said Dirk Nowitzki. We mentioned Dirk Nowitzki. Here's the thing: DeAndre Ayton is not a 4. He's a 5. He is the 5 on that team. He has been a 5 since he's come into the league, and he's nothing like Dirk Nowitzki ever was.
No, I'm not saying he's ever going to be that. I think
you think that he's going to develop a 3-point shot.
I think he's going to develop a little
Do you ever
bit where
watch?
he's not a
Have you ever seen him shoot a basketball?
Yes.
Okay, and you think he has a shooting stroke?
It's fine. It's for a big man. It's fine. I think
it's not a shooting stroke. Go watch his shot again. He does not have a shooting stroke.
Again, it's not something that's
How
ever
many
gonna be the
times have
strength of
you
his
seen
game.
him shoot a 17-foot jumper?
I don't know the exact number. Maybe 17.
I guarantee you.
Maybe 17.
I guarantee.
Sure.
I guarantee you. If you look up numbers right now, he probably hit 30 17-foot jumpers the whole season for an NBA superstar.
Yeah, it's not much. I'm not saying
good.
I'm not saying he's
not
gonna.
good.
I'm not saying he's gonna ever be like a Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic shooting threes, because they're both good at shooting threes. And even Karl Anthony
They came into the league good at shooting threes.
I don't think Embiid did. Embiid developed it later.
No,
Jokic did, yes.
Embiid could shoot threes.
Not
when he
early
played
on.
for Kansas. When he played for Kansas, he was shooting threes
a little bit, but not a lot.
Do you remember what he did in the Elite 8? I
They
think
didn't
it was
make it that year.
The
They got
Sweet
upset.
16. I'm sorry,
They got
Sweet
upset
16.
in the round of 32.
I'm sorry, Sweet 16.
Yeah, no, he was never the polished 3-point shooter. Then he was, again.
You don't have to be. At least he can hit it. I don't see it. How many times have you seen DeAndre Ayton shoot a 3-point shot?
Again, he only shoots 0.5 per game.
All right, so that's not a lot.
I'm just saying we don't know. I'm not saying he's like Ben Simmons at it just because he doesn't do it. I think
he can't. That's why he doesn't do it.
I don't think he needs to with Chris Paul and Devin Booker on there.
I don't think he can, even if they weren't on there.
But again, I don't think he's been.
Chris Paul hasn't been there. Thing. Chris Paul wasn't there the whole time when he came into the league. Chris Paul wasn't on that team. He still couldn't shoot threes.
But they had backcourt players that were capable of that, where they didn't need him to.
Speedy, stop telling me and trying to sell me that he's going to develop a shot, because he's not. He's not that type of player. His stroke is not that. I've watched this guy play. He has never had a stroke where he could become a shooter like that. He does. Al Horford did.
Mm-hmm.
Al Horford, when he came into the league, I remember when he played for Florida, he had a fadeaway jumper. His stroke was an NBA shooting stroke. He just needed to develop that shot and actually shoot it a little bit more with an arc. That was it. He doesn't have that.
No, I'm not saying he's great. I'm just saying he's young, so there's still a chance that maybe good coaching could make it work.
Good. It's not going to happen, so stop bringing it up.
I think it could with the
You think it could.
the right system.
And I'm going to tell you 10 years from now it didn't.
Okay.
Because it's not.
All right. Snug says, will you be offering a ban the beeve or avoid woodland creatures or a Jeff is always right t-shirt? I doubt
Jeff is not always
right. I doubt Errol will ever make a Jeff is always right.
Jeff is never right. I don't know where you can say Jeff is always right. Jeff was telling me that I was a clown when I said Donovan Mitchell was going to be a Knick. And then all of a sudden I changed my thoughts. And now all of a sudden he could be on his way to the Knicks before the week's end.
Snug says Sam Perkins. Carl says, can you compare him to Marcus?
Did he ever
Camby?
coach? Did Carlisle ever coach Sam Perkins?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if he did.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. Carl says, can you compare him to Marcus Camby? I think they're different skill types.
No, he's better than Marcus Camby.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's not. Marcus Camby was an elite defender and an elite rebounder. And DeAndre Ayton's a 10 rebounder. Marcus Camby was 14. He would some years he would average 13, 14 rebounds a game. So and like 2-3 blocks a game. He was an elite defender. He was an all-world defensive player, Marcus Camby, and a Hall of Famer. DeAndre Ayton is not that, but he's got a better offensive style of game than Marcus Camby did. I remember when Marcus Camby came out from Mass and he came into the NBA, and I remember who drafted him, Isaiah Thomas from Toronto. And Isaiah, say whatever you want about Isaiah Thomas. He is a good judge of talent in the draft. He drafted 3 Hall of Famers: Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Marcus Camby.
To answer your question, no, he was not even close to coaching Sam Perkins. Perkins played in the 80s for the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. Carlisle only started coaching the Mavericks in 2008.
We're not talking about Seattle. We're talking about Rick Carlisle coaching a big man who could shoot threes. Not Sam Perkins. There were a lot of NBA players in the 80s and the 90s that could shoot. Kevin McHale, he was a big man, 6'11" type of guy. He was considered a big man. He could shoot threes. All right.
Carl says Marcus Camby, is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, not yet. But he is a Hall of Famer. He's an all-time all-world defensive player and a rebounder. Marcus Camby will go into the end. I don't know if he is. I think he was inducted. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. Look it up, Speedy.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but he will be a Hall of Famer. Marcus Camby is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Mark Eaton shot threes. Ha ha. I don't know what that means, but I remember Mark Eaton. But I don't know what he's trying to say on that. But it's interesting. We're still waiting for
Brandon Jacobs.
Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah, I keep emailing him. I haven't gotten a hold of him, so we'll see.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Marcus Camby's not in at the moment.
No,
not in the Hall of Fame at the moment.
But I do believe he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was an elite defender. He's definitely going to the Hall of Fame. And Vince Carter, with the years that he's put in as one of the greatest jumpers in the NBA history and dunkers, and then Tracy McGrady is definitely a Hall of Famer.
Oh, easily, yeah.
So you have 3 guys right there, all drafted by Isaiah Thomas. He also drafted Derek Lee. He also, if I go through Isaiah Thomas's drafts, he's had good drafts. He's drafted good play. He's just a horrible judge of character for free agency. He was horrible at doing that. I remember bringing in Stephon Marbury when he was running the New York Knicks. That was a terrible move by him. Even in Toronto, he weighed out his welcome over there too. He traded away Marcus Camby, which pissed off a lot of people. I think he traded him to Portland, if I'm not mistaken.
Classic Portland, getting players later in their careers. Did he draft Jamal Crawford? Do you know? Because he was, again.
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know he came to the Knicks later when I started watching basketball, and he was always my favorite player because I know he bumped around different teams.
Chicago Bulls drafted him.
Okay. Carl says
Chicago Bulls.
Carl says Manute Bol gets stroke from 3. 4-decade player Vince Carter. Yes, one of the most impressive longevities you'll ever see for any sport. Too, Vince Carter. What he had, he only retired just 2 years ago.
To say that you drafted 3 Hall of Famers or 3 to soon to be Hall of Famers, that tells you that you're a good judge of character. You could find players in the draft. Because I could tell you a bunch of people, a bunch of GMs that couldn't find a lick. I mean, practically everybody that's run the New York Knicks couldn't find talent. I mean, in the draft. I've seen drafts that the Knicks have been top 10 and he never found a player in the last 15, 20 years. They've never.
And then when they don't have the picks,
they've had 3 first-round draft picks. They've had 3 first-round draft picks. I remember, if I can remember, in the top 21, and they still couldn't find. Not one of them turned out to be decent. Not one of them. So I mean, Speedy, you like cutting me off. So when I stop, that's when you talk, and you can't talk. You're quiet. You just like cutting me off when I'm talking. Anyways, we're still waiting for Brandon Jacobs. When he does come in, we'll go to a quick break, and we'll have Brandon Jacobs on talking a little football with him. But yeah, so it's so very interesting how the NBA season is coming, is starting to translate to what we expect it to be. We didn't expect it to be early this season. So before we get Brandon Jacobs on, I do want to get into some football. And what did Carl say about football? What was the thing that he brought up?
He was brought up Jared Cook potentially to the Buccaneers, I guess, if Gronk doesn't come back. Because now Gronk was saying now he wants to retire, then he doesn't want to retire. So now he wants to fully retire, even if Brady does call again. So it's an unknown now. So maybe they'll bring in Jared Cook as a blocking type tight end, I guess, at this point in his career.
Now, obviously, I don't know if everybody's heard this because we're not in Arizona, that the talks have opened up with Kyler Murray. Reportedly, he wants $40 to $42 million a year. He wants to be paid as an elite quarterback in this league. And listen, I think Kyler Murray is one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. The problem with Kyler Murray is a lot of people are going to take shots at him of what he produced in the playoffs last year against the Super Bowl championship team of the Rams, which, listen, you can't attack somebody after losing against a team that actually won the Super Bowl, okay? So did Kyler Murray show up in that game? No. And then he tried to beat around the bush and throw his team under the bus. He wasn't really a leader. And then he unfriended the Arizona Cardinals and some of the players on his team as a big baby. The Cardinals gave him what he wanted. Marcus Brown or Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown in the draft after trading for him from Baltimore. That's his best friend. They bring him over there. They give him another weapon after Hopkins obviously is suspended for 6 games for steroids. And now you talk about Kyler Murray. He wants that contract. Now, they should have given him that contract before the season ended or right after the season ended because he deserves that kind of money. This guy is an elite quarterback. I believe that. The only problem with him is he's small. And if you give him an extension worth, $40 a year and you're going to give him a 5-6 year extension, you got to hope that this guy lasts for 6 years because of his size and his mobility.
Yeah, also, too, for his size, the injuries, too. He's both of them in the second half of the season so far, and that's a concerning sign for a young team that really has failed to take that next step because they've crumbled a lot in the second half of the season because he's gotten hurt. Now, obviously not all his fault. His offensive line was terrible his first 2 years coming into the league. So maybe having some better offensive linemen will help, and also a scheme maybe that could help him prevent him getting hurt.
I mean, if you sit here today and you try to compare and contrast some of the top quarterbacks in this league, does anybody think that Kyler Murray isn't a top 10 quarterback in this league?
Yeah, he's top 10. I think he's...
But that's not my question.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking the fans. If you look at all the quarterbacks right now in the league, does anybody not think that Kyler Murray is an elite quarterback? He is. If you're a top 10 quarterback, everybody says elite quarterback's top 5. I think elite quarterback's top 10. Guys that you can absolutely win every year with. And you go through the elite quarterbacks. Let's go. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen now, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. I would say Deshaun Watson, but let's keep him out of it because he hasn't played in 2 years. Who was?
Burrow. Lamar Jackson, would you put there?
No, he's not an elite quarterback.
He's the second tier.
Yeah, he's the second
That's
tier.
That's probably
quarterback.
it then.
No.
You think Dak is? Because he's the other one.
Kyler Murray.
On the cusp.
Kyler Murray. I would say I can't put Kirk Cousins as an elite.
No, he's kind of that second tier. He's kind of been that his whole career. Matthew Stafford, you think?
Matthew Stafford, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm trying to get.
I would say that's probably it. I would imagine.
Speedy, you said that was it, and you just added another guy. So I'm trying to bring in the team so I can scope through the teams and see the elites. But here we go. So with the Patriots, no. Bengals, Steelers, nope. Browns, Titans, Colts. Matt Ryan's still in league quarterback. Matt Ryan's still there. He's still there. He had almost 4,000 yards last year. He still threw 22 touchdowns. He played for the Atlanta Falcons. I still think he could be elite. Derek Carr is an elite quarterback.
Okay.
Russell Wilson. We forget about him. Elite quarterback. That's about it.
All right. Yeah, that's about 10.
That's over 10.
Yeah.
That's over 10. Matthew Stafford. We'll go over it again. Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford,
Burrow, Herbert,
Tom Brady,
Aaron Rodgers,
Mahomes,
Josh Allen, 8, and then the 3 you just said. Yep, that's 11.
It's 11 players. Kyler Murray is right there. He's to me, he's a top 10 quarterback. So do you pay a top 10 quarterback? Absolutely. Kirk Cousins, who I think is a good quarterback. He is. He is making more money than Kyler Murray is. And like Jeff says, you can never attack somebody for thinking that he deserves that money and earned that money. Now, Kyler Murray, he's been in the league for 3 years now. He has been as good, when healthy, as good as any quarterback in the league. Now, in the second half of the season, he kind of dies down, gets tired, I don't know, gets injured because he uses his legs. But this guy is as accurate as any quarterback in the league. If you look at his accuracy, he's amongst the league's top 5, top 6 in the league. Does he have the arm strength of some of these quarterbacks, like a Josh Allen, Patrick? No. But he still has a strong arm. I think he's there. I really do. And look at the wide receivers he was throwing to, not last year, but the years before that.
Yeah, they were all bad.
So, I mean, to take a shot at Kyler Murray and say that he doesn't deserve the $40 million, I could tell you a lot of other players that don't deserve it. How about Dak Prescott?
Right.
Does Dak Prescott deserve $42 million a year? Nope. I like Kirk Cousins. Does he deserve the $40-something million he's made a year for the last couple of years with the Minnesota Vikings? I would say no.
No.
So what is he saying? Errol's arguing Cousins making more than Kyler Murray. Dumb he is. It's unreal and stupidity. Really.
Let's just take a shot at you.
You can take a shot all you want, Jeff. Jeff, you know what's so funny? Jeff likes taking shots at me when I say something, my take on something. And then when I say something, it calls me a clown, and then it comes up that I wasn't a clown. He doesn't have anything to say. Jeff, you're the clown. You're the idiot. Everything that comes out of your mouth is stupidity. You're never right. And when you think you're right, you're wrong. Okay? And you like to call people clowns. You're the biggest clown of them all.
No snug. Mac Jones is not an elite quarterback. Carl says Kyler Murray seems to sulk around a bit. If you're good with that, then pay the man. Yeah, and it seems like the contract situation is going a lot better with him now. I think that was mainly more of the beginning of it, where they were trying to keep other players. They were able to keep AJ Green, and now they traded for Hollywood Brown too, which is going to keep him happy at that point. Carl says, I'm not ready to say 10 quarterbacks in the league are elite. I feel like
here's the way I look at elite, and I think people forget this. I think when I say elite, if any of these 10 quarterbacks were on any team, they have a chance to win if you have the right players around you. That's where I call elite. You want to say 5 players where they're elite, fine. That's what you want to do. I look at, when I say elite, I could take these 10 players and I put them on any team. If you put the right players around them, they're going to win. They're going to win. And that's what I mean by elite. All those players that we mentioned. Derek Carr. If you put him on the right team this year, you watch. Derek Carr's numbers are going to shoot up. They're going to shoot up.
Oh, well, he played with all the receivers out last year.
The Chiefs, obviously, even with the bad losing Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes is an elite player. He's going to make everybody around him better. Even Matt Ryan, who's older, the Atlanta Falcons, they had nobody last year. Nobody. Okay? I want to mention, what's his name again? Play running back, play wide receiver.
Cordero Patterson.
Patterson. I want to hear that, because Patterson is not an elite player. He's not anything. Matt Ryan still worked and played well with the team that he had around him.
Carl says, just because players are making crazy money right now doesn't make them elite. It's affecting the market. I don't think we were saying that.
No.
Errol's saying there's a lot more quarterbacks that make players around it better. Which is absolutely
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. These guys, are the quarterbacks I mentioned, make everybody around them better. They make them better.
We were just talking about Derek Carr. They lost Henry Ruggs to that whole DUI thing. Other receivers got hurt. They really had Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller was even hurt too at certain points of the season. They had Hunter Renfrow and Fabian Moreau as his main target last year, and they still made the playoffs in a very tough AFC West with a bad offensive line. That's an example of making your guys around you better. Now, is it going to win all the time? Is it going to win Super Bowls all the time? No, you still want to have the targets to make it work, and that's what teams have learned now that have taken those next steps, especially in the AFC. But that doesn't mean the quarterback is
Carl gets it. Why don't you, dummy? You're the dummy. You're the idiot. You don't get nothing. Jeff, I'd love to see you have any athletic ability to play in any kind of sport. You say you were a professional golfer, I gotta see you play golf before you can say that. And Derek Carr is not elite. Here's the thing. Again, I'm not understand this, Carl, because you're not getting what I'm trying to say here. When I say elite, that quarterback, these 10 quarterbacks that I mentioned, if you put them on a mediocre team, they make everybody around them better. That doesn't make them a championship team. They make them better. Now, Derek Carr, you put him on the Jets right now, Derek Carr is going to make those players better. Why? Because he knows how to win. And he understands how to make the team and the players around him better. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win a Super Bowl with them. I'll tell you this. Drew Brees was a lead player. How many championships did he win?
1.
Oh, not Tom Brady. Peyton Manning. He was an elite player. How many championships did he win?
Technically 2, but didn't play great in either of those Super Bowls.
I can name a bunch of quarterbacks that won. I can name quarterbacks that are elite, that would consider elite, that never won a championship.
Mm-hmm. Dan Marino thought of as a statistically best quarterback ever. Never won a championship. Went to a Super Bowl his rookie year. Never went since.
Oh, you want to make a bet? If Derek Carr was on the Chicago Bears this year, he would make them much better than Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
How would you not think that? Justin Fields is a phenomenal player. He's a good player. He still needs to figure things out. Derek Carr is a veteran who understands how to win, even with injuries. Last year, they were playing with injuries all season. They made the playoffs. They almost won, too.
With an interim coach, too. I forgot about that.
How could you say that Derek Carr isn't a great player? You don't think Derek Carr's a top 10 quarterback? That's all I'm saying. When I say elite, okay, you guys are looking at like the Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, and Russell Wilson, whatever. You want to call them elite? Fine, because they won Super Bowls, because they've made teams better. All the quarterbacks that I mentioned, including Kyler Murray, they have made their teams better.
Carl says they have a miserable offensive line and a miserable defense now. That's fine. We're not saying that
We're
they're
not
making them a
contesting
playoff team.
that.
We're saying Derek Carr would make them not one of the 5 worst teams in the NFL if he was there.
Why is it when everybody tries to take words out of my mouth, make it seem like I'm foolish for saying what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're elite where they're going to win. I'll name a bunch of quarterbacks that were considered elite that never won a Super Bowl. Okay? That's not what I'm saying, Carl. What I'm saying is that if I put Derek Carr on the Jets, he'll make them better. If I put Derek Carr on the Jaguars, he'll make them better.
Right.
You could put these quarterbacks on any other team in the NFL, they'll make them better. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to make them a Super Bowl contender. I mean, everybody for years thought Matthew Stafford was a good quarterback. He played for the Lions, the bad Lions team, but his numbers were pretty damn good. As a matter of fact, amongst the league's best.
He had a 5,000-yard season in 2011.
Amongst the league's best, and his team couldn't get more than 8 wins. Made the playoffs. Had one playoff appearance as a Lion. Okay,
they got screwed out of one playoff win by the Cowboys, but I think they only made the playoffs like 2 other times, like a scrappy wild card.
He says, please use different words for elite. When I say elite, top 10 players in the league, top 10 quarterbacks in the league, that's elite to me. There are 32 teams in the NFL. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
32 teams. So out of 32 teams, I guess each team has 2 quarterbacks. These 10 quarterbacks are the best of the best.
I think he's trying to separate the difference between elite and maybe guys that are going to be on an all-pro team. Like, statistically speaking, you're not expecting somebody like Derek Carr or somebody like even Matthew Stafford when he was with the Lions. Now with the Rams, he might with all the weapons he has. But
you want me to use a different word? Fine. What do you want? What kind of word? Top quarterbacks in the NFL? I mean, I look at elite. Other people use the word elite differently than I do.
Do you want to differentiate superstar and star? Maybe is that maybe what you're going for?
Superstar. They are superstars. Okay. All 10 of them are superstars. I don't care what anybody says. Derek Carr is a superstar. He is a superstar, and people don't give him the credit that he deserves. Let's look at Derek Carr's numbers. Okay, Speedy, bring up his numbers. Mm-hmm. Bring up his numbers, and you tell me. Match it up with Russell Wilson. Okay, Russell Wilson, who's considered a superstar.
All right, Derek Carr last season, 23 touchdowns, had 14 interceptions, threw for almost 5,000 yards, 4,804 yards, and was 10-7 last year.
What is his numbers of his career? How many years did he play?
He's in his 8th year he played 8 years in the league.
Okay, remember he missed a year because
he missed a year with the injury. Yes, 193 touchdowns in his career, 85 interceptions, 31,700 passing yards, completing 65% of his passes in his career.
Let me ask you this question: how old is Derek Carr?
Derek Carr is 30.
Okay, Derek Carr is probably, by the time his career is over, is going to throw probably between 300 and 350 touchdowns. Is that a Hall of Famer?
Mm-hmm.
That's a Hall of Famer.
I would say so.
That's a Hall of Famer.
And Russell Wilson, a lot more touchdowns, 292.
Yeah, he also
but
played.
The passing yards are very similar, 37,000.
How many years did Russell Wilson play?
Russell Wilson played 2 more years than Derek Carr.
Okay,
and started right
how
away.
How many touchdowns does he have?
292. So it's about 100 more. So yeah, obviously he's better.
Well, he missed
the passing yards.
Derek Carr missed a year,
right?
Again, so that could be 30 touchdowns.
Okay, possibly, definitely could be 30 touchdowns if Derek Carr has
25.
Yeah, if Derek Carr has like top-notch seasons 3 times, yeah, definitely could happen.
And with the team that he has now, he's going to have a hell of a lot more touchdowns.
Oh
than he
yeah,
ever had.
easily.
Okay, so with no playoff wins, Derek Carr is going to win playoffs. He's going to get into the playoffs with his team, and they're going to win. I didn't say he's a Hall of Famer now. He will be a Hall of Famer. If he throws 300, 350 touchdowns, Russell Wilson, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I would say so.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's won 2 Super Bowls, or one Super Bowl. One Super Bowl. Who's on the phone?
Jeff.
All right, put him through. Let's hear this guy. Yes?
All right, Errol.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
What I think, if I'm getting this correctly,
Mm-hmm.
Carl's point would be you can't have 33% of the league be elite. Is Derek Carr, and listen, I'm agreeing with you on Derek Carr. You could put him a lot of places and he would be better. So we're in agreement on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you put him on the Chiefs, would he make the Chiefs better than Patrick Mahomes makes them?
I don't know. How do we know that he couldn't?
If you put him on the Buccaneers, does he make the Buccaneers better than Tom Brady makes them?
Well, Tom Brady's different. You can't really put him in the
If
same
you
category.
put him on the Packers, does he make the Packers better than Aaron Rodgers makes them?
Those are the two best quarterbacks in the NFL.
But this is what I'm saying. What you're doing is you're picking some of the worst places that he could go and saying, oh, he'd make that team better, so he makes teams better. Yeah, he would also make other teams worse.
Well, hold on one second. You say 33% of the league. There's more than...
It is. If there's 32 teams and you're saying 10 elite, that's 33% of the league.
Now, when I say elite, it's not elite where... Listen, even the elite quarterbacks in the league, okay? You want to... Give me the 5 elite quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
I'm going to say Tom Brady because, and listen,
Yes.
this is in no particular order.
All right,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
ranking
Give it
my
to me.
1 through 5.
Give it to me.
Tom Brady, he's the best of all time. He's still killing it at 45.
Fine.
Okay.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers, no
Okay.
doubt.
All right.
I would say Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
There's a rub to this question. Are we including Deshaun Watson in this?
Yeah, why not?
I would say Deshaun Watson is in that.
Never won a
category.
Super Bowl. Go ahead. I'm just saying.
I could throw Matthew Stafford in this conversation.
Just won a Super Bowl for the first time in his career.
He played in Detroit. Well,
all
first
right.
of all, the fact that he made it.
We just said that too.
The fact that he made it as long as he did it in Detroit should speak to how great he is. Because normally, when quarterback, and we've talked about this before. Normally, when quarterbacks get drafted into horrific situations, they're out of the league in 3 years.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Matthew Stafford made it that long should tell you something about his abilities. Right?
And I'm not taking shots at that either. I think Matthew Stafford deserves all the credit in the world.
And I'm not even going to include some of the young guys. While they've been impressive, I want more than 1 or 2 good years. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're talking about Burrow, Herbert, guys like that, yeah.
And while I think they're all better than Derek Carr's done it longer, so he deserves some credit.
I'm looking at it with I understand what you're saying about the elite. You want to pick 5 guys to, in my view of top end quarterbacks, I think that if you put them on any other team, they'll find a way to make that team better.
But he wouldn't make other teams better because you just said if you put him on any other team, he would make them better. He wouldn't make any other team better. He wouldn't. Because we're just talking about, does he make the Packers better? And you went, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best. Yeah. So no. So your answer, you can just say no, and that's okay. Just say no.
There's only 2 teams. I think he could play just as good as Patrick Mahomes can with the team that he had.
Does he? If you put him on the Bills, does he make the Bills better, or is Josh Allen better?
honestly, I think Derek Carr is right there with Josh Allen. I just don't think he gets the credit.
I mean, Josh Allen is doing things and making that Bills team so much better. And he has
Josh Allen has had better weapons than Derek Carr's ever had. Come on.
What are you talking about?
Don't bring up Darren Waller, because Darren Waller, when he does play, he's not 100% healthy.
But he had nothing until Diggs was there. He's only had Diggs for one season.
So Diggs has been there for 3 years.
2 seasons.
Almost 3 years now.
And Josh Allen's skill set is much better. Josh Allen can run.
Josh Allen's numbers when Diggs wasn't there was not great, okay? Was not.
That team wasn't great.
And Derek Carr, if you look at his numbers, even without wide receivers, they were good. He should have won the MVP before he tore his ACL.
2016, yeah.
He would have won the MVP. Who was he throwing? Who was he throwing to?
It was Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree that year. And then I forget who.
Amari Cooper wasn't 100% healthy that year.
Don't get the beef riled up. That's the great Amari Cooper.
No, Amari Cooper wasn't 100% healthy that year. I think he played 9 games, 10 games
something
that
like
year.
that, yeah.
He didn't even play that year.
That was Crabtree's year. That was his best year.
And I'm forgetting the stretch that he was there, but Deshaun Jackson was also there for a stretch.
He was only there for a little bit last year.
He wasn't there for 2016.
He was not there in 2016.
I mean, what Derek Carr did that year was sensational, and he got that money at the end of the year. If you remember,
you're taking this sideways, because I already said that
I know what you said
about Derek Carr. He would make a lot of places better. There's also a bunch of places he doesn't make better.
Again, I don't know, if I put him over there in KC or I put him over there in, New York, on any of the New York teams, or Miami. But I've seen enough of Derek Carr, what I've seen with the players that he's thrown to, where he has played well and he has dominated. And there are other quarterbacks. Kyler Murray, you put him on any other team right now. Do I think he can win with them? Yes, because of his ability and his talent. The only thing that scares me,
underhanded interceptions in his own end zone.
Come on, are you talking about the playoffs? You're talking about that game. Come on, Jeff.
He was a deer in headlights. No,
I'm sorry. What is Carl saying right now? But why do you know for some teams, but not for others? Again, Derek, I'm not sitting here. I brought up a conversation, Carl. It's not something that I was thinking about scoping through teams. What I have seen, Carl, on what Derek Carr has done on the teams that he has been on, good and bad, that he has made everybody around him better.
He's been a really good player. Here's the problem with that. There's been other guys that have had equally as crappy weapons as he's had, and they've consistently made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Give me a team. Give me a quarterback.
Russell Wilson. He's done really well with crappy weapons.
Russell Wilson won that Super Bowl because of their defense. And a running back that ran over people. All right. Let's not get into Russell Wilson and why he won that title. It had nothing to do with Russell Wilson. Nothing to do with him.
Russell Wilson has performed terrifically.
Okay.
With crappy.
Okay. Since that Super Bowl that they won and going to the Super Bowl that they should have won, which by the way, even in that they didn't win, and the reason why they got to that Super Bowl was because of their defense and Marshawn Lynch. If you remember that, I think he had 1,500 yards.
Marshawn Lynch was
he was a beast.
Terrific.
Okay. Right. All right. Ever since then, when those guys were gone and that defense was gone, what did Russell Wilson do? What did he do?
What did Russell Wilson
What did he do?
Dude, he's been an all-pro quarterback.
That's great. Great. And look at the wide receivers he has thrown to. Tyler Lockett, he's terrible? Is he that bad?
No, I think he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Okay. How about the guy that they have on the other side? Is he pretty good?
DK Metcalf?
Yeah.
You don't even like DK
I don't
Metcalf.
like him. I don't like him, but everybody considers him. Everybody considers him good. Everybody considers him good. I don't.
Right, but hold on. This is what you do, right? You go, well, everyone else considers him good, so he must be good. And then when someone else makes a point, you'll go, that's not true. He's terrible.
No, I don't. Jeff, it's not true. This is so funny. When I say something on this show and I get attacked for what I say, I have taken back. When I attack you for saying something, you never take back what you say. You sit there and you attack me again.
I hate Michigan.
Yeah, well, great. You hate Michigan. What has Carl done? Carl, you say, what has Carr done? Again, I'll go back to Dan Marino. Dan Marino was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. What did he do? Did he win a Super Bowl?
Look, my only point was you cherry pick. This is the problem.
That's any sports radio show. Yes, I cherry pick, and I attack my teams.
Right. No. And you did a good job of pointing out the terrible teams that if Derek Carr went to, he would make them better. And I'm in agreement with you. But saying that he's elite, I think the elite guys can go anywhere and make that team as good, if not better, right? Because if Brady and Rodgers switched, I think that's kind of a push, like an equal kind of lateral move, right? Like, if you're elite, you go everywhere and make them better. Derek Carr doesn't do that. You can't put Derek Carr on Green Bay and say that he would have them playing better than Aaron Rodgers has them playing. That he's not elite.
Carl says Russell Wilson made the playoffs and won since the last time you discredited the Super Bowl appearances. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Since 2015, which is, I think, the first year where he became the main focal point of the offense because Marshawn Lynch was hurt a lot that year, and he had that big second half.
He has never been to an NFC title game where he was the focal point.
No,
never.
They have won one playoff game, and that was against the Lions. So not really a great resume on that.
Please, and I'm not saying that Derek Carr is Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that.
No.
But I'm saying when I look at elite, okay, and I'm not okay. My word for elite is that if I took 10 players, 10 quarterbacks in this league, I'll take any one of those 10 quarterbacks. Now, obviously,
Would you
Tom Brady.
consider 33% of something elite?
In my words, because even with elite doesn't mean that having an elite player helps you win.
But elite is rare. Elite is rare. So I would say elite is top
Speedy,
five.
look up the definition of elite in every kind of way.
Okay,
because
elite's the pinnacle. Elite's the top of the tippity top.
Elite meaning.
I got your brain in such a blender. You're going.
All right, Oxford Language Dictionary definition: a selected group that is superior in terms of quality, ability, or qualities to the rest of a group or society.
Right, to the rest of the group, which Derek Carr is not, because he's not superior to the rest of the group, because there's other teams he goes to that he wouldn't make better. So he's not superior to them all. So he's not elite by definition. Thank you, Oxford.
Okay. There are other things, nouns, sometimes functional, the most powerful, rich, gifted, educated member, group, community,
He's
etc.
dumb as a rock, so he's not smart or gifted. First of all, you're not going to convince me anyone that went to Fresno State is gifted.
Dumb as a rock. Okay,
he's gifted.
who makes
He
Denver
moved to
better,
Fresno.
Wilson or Carr? I don't know. Actually, in that offense, I would start pushing towards Carr. I want to see what Wilson could do in an offense like that.
How about I, instead of the A-B option, how about I give you a C option? Who fucking knows? Because they're always so hurt at receiver. Maybe no one can help them be better.
Well, Russell Wilson, I would say, he's very scheme-proof because how often Seattle changed their coordinators and all that.
Yeah.
But because I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach, really. But Derek Carr has also done that too with interim coaches, with the whole John Gruden debacle, with them rebuilding the way they did in 2018 and had they traded pretty much everybody. It just really started from scratch.
I would say about 3 years ago, before he tore his ACL, people were saying he was a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Let's be fair to Drew Lock in this situation. I realize he's not elite or in this conversation or whatever, but let's just be fair to Drew Lock for 1 second.
Okay.
Drew Lock was in a fight with one hand tied behind his back because all of those receivers in Denver were all hurt all the time. Cortland Sutton, 100 torn ACLs. Jerry Jeudy got a hangnail and he sat out for weeks. Deshaun Hamilton always hurt. So how was anybody supposed to look like anything? Like we don't know what that Denver offense is or isn't because they're always hurt.
Again, and I'm not gonna argue with the points that you made over there because you're right on a lot of things that you've said. And everybody keeps saying, obviously, we know Carl doesn't like Derek Carr because he's trying to find any possible way to say that he's not anywhere close to elite. And that's your opinion. My opinion
Derek
is
Carr's leaning towards elite just because he didn't go to Michigan.
I mean, if you look at his all right, I'm just looking at straight up numbers. His first 4 years were fantastic. They were fantastic.
That's terrific. But you went to the definition because you were like confused about it. And now that you got the definition of what elite is, it ain't Derek Carr. He doesn't anywhere he went, he wouldn't make them better than some of these other guys. All of the guys that would go to any team and improve them are the elite ones.
Speedy, do me a
and
favor.
that ain't Derek Carr.
Look at Tom Brady's first 8 years as a quarterback. Look at Aaron Rodgers' first 8 years as a quarterback, and look at those guys. I want to see their first 8 years and compare them to Derek Carr's first 8 years. Okay, I just want to look
make
at
sure
it.
you make sure you throw in make sure you throw in 3 Super Bowls for Brady.
That's fine, but it wasn't only Brady that did it. Okay.
Oh, so now it's not only Brady that did it, but you not that
the 2 Super Bowls that they won. First of all, you know what I feel about
They
them.
won 3 in his first.
All right,
8 years.
and 2 of them were really all about the defense. It wasn't about the offense.
All right, Tom Brady. So 2001 to 2009. This was because 2008.
I want to know the numbers.
225 touchdowns, 99 interceptions
in the first 8 years.
Yeah, the first 8 years starting. He didn't start at 2000. So I didn't
Okay, 225.
He missed half of the season.
All right, what's fine.
38,000.
So did Derek Carr. He missed the whole season.
30,838 passing yards, completing 63.4% of his passes, and a quarterback rating of 93.4.
Okay, so Derek Carr, his first 8 years, 31,700, 193 touchdowns. How many? 85 interceptions, and the completion. His passing rating 92.4.
So worse.
What are you talking? They're almost identical.
So
they're almost identical.
Almost identical isn't identical. And
Oh, stop, Jeff.
Hold on. And you're forgetting the other number.
The Super Bowls.
Let's go.
The Super Bowls.
No. Let's not even just do Super Bowls. Playoff victories. How many playoff wins? Let's throw playoff stats in there, not just regular season stats.
How many coaches did Derek Carr have so far in 8 years?
Stop.
At least 3, maybe 4. I'm
Four.
trying to think. I'm trying to think if there was anyone before Del Rio.
And how many coaches did Tom Brady have in 8 years?
And
arguably the greatest coach of all time.
Hold on. Do you want to know a lot of that has to do with
what?
Winning. When your quarterback wins, your coaches don't get fired.
You know what also has something to do with their defense, which was a top 5 defense for like 6 out of those 8 years.
So Derek Carr is responsible for shit canning 4 coaches. How many coaches did Brady shit can?
Carpenter just hit another home run.
None.
I'm just saying. Matt Carpenter hit a 2-run home run.
None. No coaches shit canned because of Brady. 0. Squadouche.
Okay.
No.
Aaron Rodgers, 8 years, 2008 to 2016, 296 touchdowns, 71 interceptions, completing 65.2% of his passes, 36,498 passing yards, and a QBR of 104.5.
But this is what's funny about this. You're going to numbers now. And this is why you're such a numbers monkey and I make fun of this whole thing.
Yeah, God.
Is because now you're trying to go to numbers to compare the two when even you are admitting if you put Derek Carr on the Packers, he makes them worse.
Because it's Aaron Rodgers. I can't really, argue that.
So just say you agree and move on.
No, because I don't. Because I besides Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, I think he's as good as any quarterback in the league.
You open this can of worms. Speedy, go back to Oxford. Give me the definition of elite one more time because I don't think Errol quite heard it. You have to be as good or better than the rest of your peers.
A select group that is superior in terms of ability or qualities to
a select group
of society.
Right, that is of superior quality to your peers as Speedy. And is he of superior quality to Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? The answer is no, not elite. Thank you, Oxford, once again, because you're.
So you're saying there's only 2 elite quarterbacks in the whole NFL?
No, I'm saying. This is what I'm saying to you is the elite guys go anywhere and make any team better.
All right, that's 2. That's 2. That's 2.
Right.
That's 2.
Probably Patrick.
Patrick Mahomes will not do that. I want to see Patrick Mahomes this year without Tyreek Hill and a worse offensive line. Let's see what they do this year.
Well, there's other guys out there. Probably. I think. Listen, the 2 years off is going to be a thing, but I think until this point we agreed that Deshaun Watson probably could go anywhere and make that team better.
Probably. But we still don't know for that. We don't know that for sure.
Well, right, but until he proves
that's
us
a plate
wrong,
in 2 years.
Still our opinion of it, correct?
I would say so.
Yeah, I think most people thought of him as top 5. Yeah.
Right. Would you agree Matthew Stafford, if he went anywhere, makes them better?
Yeah.
So there's another one. Would you agree anywhere Russell Wilson go, he makes them better?
I don't know.
Be determined.
I don't know if Matthew. I would say I would put Matthew Stafford right there with Derek Carr. I would. If I put Derek Carr on that Rams team, do they win the Super Bowl? I think they could. I think they could have.
They could, but Stafford did it.
Yes, he did it. And I think if Derek Carr was on a team like that, they could have done it with a coach like that.
Okay, so maybe not Stafford. Okay, maybe I'll go with it. Fine, maybe not Stafford.
If you want to talk about elite, if you're saying anybody, there's only 2 quarterbacks that I can guarantee that are going to go to another team and make them better: Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. If that's the way you want to call elite, that's fine. But my elite,
there's been other guys who just agreed.
No.
And Deshaun Watson has done that up until this point of his career.
But I don't know. I mean, we can assume that, but we don't know if Deshaun Watson could do that. We have to see what he does with the Browns.
Right, but here's the we don't know what Derek Carr is going to do this season. Maybe Derek Carr lays an egg this season. So we don't know what we haven't seen. We're just saying up until this point, you would have agreed.
Yes. Here's my prediction with Derek Carr this year, and I can't wait until it happens so I could stick it down everybody's throat that mocks Derek Carr. You ready to hear this?
Again,
Derek Carr.
I haven't been mocking Derek Carr.
Not you, but everybody else that don't like Derek Carr. Derek Carr is going to have 35 touchdowns. He's going to throw 12 interceptions, and he's going to have close to 5,000 yards this year.
I would take a slight issue with that. Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
Again, what I'm telling you is I like Derek Carr. Okay, like I'm in agreement with you. I'm trying to be on your side a little bit here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, that division has gotten so stacked on defense. I don't know if he can do that.
I think with the elite players that he has and the weapons.
The Chargers went and got J.C. Jackson to play opposite of that other meatball.
If Jacobs.
And they went and got Khalil Mack at linebacker, right? The Raiders stacked up on defense. The Raiders have.
No, they're not going to be playing against.
What do the Patriots love to do? What do the Patriots love to do?
Win.
What do the Patriots love to do offensively?
Run the ball, baby.
Run the ball and do what? Short passes. Make the wide receivers, make the players.
It's a possession game.
Exactly. Now, if you look at the team right now, what Derek Carr has, with the running back that they have, which the Patriots have never had an elite running back as good as Jacobs. Let's argue that.
Okay.
Let's argue that.
Okay, false, but okay.
Who's better? Who's as good as Jacobs that's played on the Patriots?
Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon was not better than Jacobs. Corey Dillon was a good player. I remember when he played for the Bengals. He was a good player.
Curtis Martin.
I would say yes, but at the time, I don't know.
Martin's all-time great now.
Yes, with the Jets. I mean, he played 2 years with the Patriots.
What are you talking about? He played 4 years.
Did he play with 4 years? Did he play 4 years with the Patriots?
I thought so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Patriots and he was let go after.
Was it? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. How long did he play? How long did he play with the Patriots? Find that out, Speedy. Just find that out.
I would argue.
Maybe
Antoine Smith was
3 years with the Patriots, 95 to 97, and he was great all 4 of those years. Or he was great his first 2, good his 3rd year with the Patriots. 14 touchdowns.
I would say Curtis Martin. That's it. Curtis Martin. That's it. Corey did.
But again, it's also an unfair comparison, right? Because you're going to want to go by numbers again. And the fact
I'm not going with numbers. Not going with numbers.
Right, but the fact of the matter is the Raiders only use 1 running back for the most part. And the Patriots use 5.
Well, we don't know if that'll change with McDaniels there, though, too.
It's not going to change. He's going to run that dude into the ground.
Well, I'm not saying I believe in him to do that, but if he adjusts a little bit to what they're bringing from the Patriots.
Speedy, what I want you to do, but I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off. Speedy, I want you to write to Brendan Jacobs and tell him that we'll have to reschedule with him because I know he's...
yeah, he might not be feeling well. I told you he was sick a little bit at the beginning. All right.
Also, I would point this out as well. Josh McDaniels. You would like to bring up Josh McDaniels? Let's talk Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
He's a terrific offensive mind. You know what he's terrible at? Being a head coach.
Yeah, but he's only been a head coach 1 time. And he was only there, for a year?
And he was awful.
For Broncos, yeah.
So, but hold on. So now I want you to apply the same logic that you've applied with
he was horrible. I don't know how horrible he was. I think he won 9 games that year. He won 9 games that year. Right?
Yeah, dude.
He made the playoffs with Tebow when they were 8-8. Yeah.
Yeah, they made the playoffs.
Responsible for drafting Tim Tebow. What
yeah, that's true.
Everybody hates Tim Tebow, but he did take him to the playoffs and win a playoff game against the
nope. Sorry, we're not giving
the
any
Steelers.
Credit for that.
Yeah, I remember that. I picked that. Everyone thought I was crazy.
We're not giving any credit for that because guys don't get credit for that because when I mentioned playoff victories, when it came to Derek Carr, you wanted to brush that aside. We need to.
I'm talking about Tim Tebow. When you would say everybody says Tim Tebow was terrible, he's not terrible. He never got a chance to. He won 1 year and then he became a backup and then wound up almost becoming a tight end for the New York Jets
because he was terrible. Let's put it this way:
he wasn't accurate.
Let's put it this way: so far in the history of the league, he's the only guy that's been worse than Tua.
Why? Is that how you derive the Hawaiian Tebow nickname? Now it all makes sense. Full circle.
Ryan Leaf developed a drug habit watching Tim Tebow play football. Yeah. Aaron Hernandez single-handedly got CTE from banging his head against the wall from watching Tim Tebow play football.
I mean, Jeff, you do have a point for 2011. He completed 46.5% of his passes.
Dude, do you know how bad completing 46% of your passes is? Do you know how actually bad that is?
How bad is it?
It's awful. It's all-time awful. Show me a quarterback that's completed a worse percentage than that.
I don't know. I can't.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know by hand, by
You
thought.
can
I have to
complete
look it
half-
up.
And by the way, this is what makes it even worse, is he only completed half of his passes, and they were all screen passes. That's Cam Newton bad.
Well, again, I don't want to go. I don't want to get dig deep into this.
The thing that you're praising Tim Tebow for, beating the Steelers in overtime, that was a 4-yard slant. The wide receiver did all the work.
Yeah.
Still had to make the throw.
He's had to throw it 4 yards. And by the way, that might have been the only pass he completed all night.
Oh, come on. We've seen Tom Brady get credit for
Bring up the
4-yard
stats from
passes
that
and
game.
touchdowns to win the game.
Bring up the stats from that game. That was his only 300 yards.
Bring up the stats, Speedy. Go ahead. Bring up the stats. I don't know why it matters.
That was his only 300-yard passing game, and 80 of them were in overtime on that one play.
So he threw 300 yards, and you think that was bad?
But 80 of them were in overtime. That whole game, he had thrown for 190-something yards.
All right, and we've seen good quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and not play well in the playoffs.
He was 10 for 21 for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns.
316 yards for 10 for 21.
80 of them were in overtime on that one pass that Demaryius Thomas did all the work.
Okay.
So he completed 9 passes the rest of the game. 9. He completed 9 passes in a football game.
And come on. And Jeff, you know that the Patriots have been known to throw those 10 or 4-yard slants that get Tom Brady 20 yards, 30 yards, and his numbers
Tom Brady completes more than 9 passes in a game.
I'm not saying that Tim Tebow is Tom Brady.
That's a playoff game where you completed 9 passes.
You're attacking Tim Tebow because he's not accurate, and you're not giving Tim Tebow any credit for being 10 for 21 and still getting 316 yards when
What are you talking about? Give him credit. That's all people want to do is give him credit. He gave that one dumb speech in Florida and everyone wanted to build a statue. Dude, 10 people from that offense went to the NFL. 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't any good. He was a product of other people being better. Go back and look at that team. He had the 2 Pounceys blocking for him. He had Riley Cooper. He had Aaron Hernandez, Jeff Demps, Percy Harvin. The list can go on and on and on, and that's just on offense.
All right, and I want to get off football because we still have a lot of hockey to get into. And again, I know one of my friends actually was looking forward to the Brandon Jacobs interview. Brandon Jacobs has been sick all week. We were told that he was going to come on tonight. I guess he couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah, he actually just responded. He actually said, "Oh, it just slipped my mind." He's actually coming on Tuesday, same time, 10 o'clock.
Brandon Jacobs, better quarterback than Tim Tebow.
God. So we'll have Brandon Jacobs on Tuesday of next week. So,
and by the way, hell of a gentleman, Brandon Jacobs.
He is, and I can't wait to go. Yeah, I think he is. I think he's been on the show a couple of times, and he really
and a better quarterback than Tim Tebow. Did I mention that?
I don't know about a better quarterback than Tim Tebow.
Easily. Way better athlete than Tim Tebow, too. Did you see Tim Tebow at tight end? Atrocious.
What is he saying? Speedy, look up Achilles Smith's completion percentage.
All right, I'll do that after I'm just responding to Brandon's email.
Achilles Smith was terrible, too. Holy cow, was Achilles Smith bad. 5 points, Speedy, if you can tell me where Achilles Smith played college football.
No, I couldn't tell you that.
Oregon. Hit the road, Jack.
Oregon, which you still probably will give more credit to than Michigan.
Oregon's 100 times the school that Michigan is. Name one person that's ever succeeded at Michigan. Nobody. Who succeeded at Oregon? I don't know. Phil Knight. Pretty good dude. Seems like he built a pretty good company.
But I do want to get off football. I do want to get into this hockey situation. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the NHL. Obviously, free agency market opened up last night, or yesterday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And so many things happened with the Rangers. And everybody was bringing up like the Islanders were the team to watch in free agency, especially looking for that superstar player. Johnny Gaudreau's name has been coming up. There were other offensive players that were slowly, but over the last couple of years, been brought up. What's his name again from St. Louis? Tarasenko, a guy that the Islanders have been talking about over the last couple of years. Tarasenko they couldn't pull the trigger during the season or in the offseason last year. So maybe that could happen this offseason. I don't know what the Islanders are trading or what St. Louis is going to be. Whatever, dude. But I can't sit here today and say that the Islanders aren't making any moves before the season starts. I believe
they're not.
Okay, you want to bet on that?
What are they?
Let's bet on it.
Lou Lamoriello's dementia for what?
Dementia what? The Islanders have money to spend, and they still have more than enough that they can trade for and go after a player if they feel right to go after the player. I heard JT Miller is a player that the Islanders have been interested in. So why?
Right, but hold on. Right, let's just do this just for the exercise.
Okay, let's hear this now. Let's hear this now. Okay, well, let's go.
What do the Islanders have of value that Vancouver would want? Because it seems like, and don't listen, I've seen some of the other trades. It looks to be a combination of players and picks that have been going back and forth in these trades this offseason. So if you're going to give up players and picks, who are the players that you're giving up for JT Miller? And it would seem like spinning your wheels because JT Miller's a terrific player. Any team would like to have him. He's elite. Okay. But if you're giving away things, it's making your team worse at the same time. You're just creating another hole.
Again, I look at the free agency market. I even look at the trade options that the Islanders have. They do have farm players that they can move. And there are players like Anthony Bolivier that is a guy that they're interested in moving this offseason.
Does it move the needle for a guy like JT Miller? Are farm guys in a
really? Because the Islanders almost had JT Miller for the 13th pick of the draft. They almost got him.
All I said was, does it move the needle for them? Is it enough to get them to give it up?
First of all, I don't know what Vancouver's going to want. One, the Vancouver Canucks are looking for defensive help, so Scott Mayfield could be a guy that could be on a move. The Islanders are willing to move him. He is a pretty good defender, and they could add another piece, maybe a Kiefer Bellows, whatever they're looking to add onto the team. And then we have also heard that the Islanders since they have so much depth on the center position, if they want, they could trade Brock Nelson, bring in what's his name, Kadri. From the Colorado Avalanche and still add JT Miller because they can. Brock Nelson got a pretty decent contract. I think the Islanders gave him a $6 million a year.
Right.
Kadri's asking for somewhere between 5 and 5.5. So the Islanders could give Kadri a little bit less money, trade Brock Nelson, maybe even trade Brock for JT Miller, and bring in JT Miller and get the center to fill in that spot. So that could happen. There's a lot of things that Lou Lamoriello could do. And I can't see that Lou Lamoriello is going to sit here all offseason and not pull the trigger. He's looking for another offensive talent to play with Barzal. It's something they've been looking for the last 2 years. And being that, they lost out on Philip Forsberg because he didn't become a free agent before the free agency market opened. He got an 8-year deal. This Johnny Gaudreau thing, I think a lot of people are going to attack Lou Lamoriello if he doesn't make a move because he was sitting there right there and they could have given him that extra year. The Islanders, I think, offered him 7. He got 9. So I don't know if the Islanders are going to go 9. Remember, Johnny Gaudreau is built on speed. Okay? And with Johnny Gaudreau... I
don't think he makes your team better anyways.
Well, he does.
I think you're better off not having him.
Well, I do think he'll make the team better because you're adding that offensive speed to Barzal. It's going to help. It's going to help Barzal and Anders Lee out. It gives them that speed on that line that they need. But I wouldn't.
So undersized in a conference that's pretty rough. Like the East is the hitting division, right? Or the hitting conference. The West is just built on speed and pretty boys, and they don't like to hit each other and whatever. I'm not so sure Gaudreau's style fits in the East. He's not a guy that plays physical.
I think, though, too, we've seen the variance of the cup-winning teams. Probably outside of the Lightning, which have won the two, obviously. It's pretty even split between the East and the West, though, winning the cup. The Flames, yeah, they were never the playoff identity because they always played too passive, even with talented guys. But we've never seen the Islanders play passive in the playoffs if they ended up getting there. Columbus, we'll see what ends up happening there. They're probably still a rebuilding team as it is. That's why I was surprised he ended up going there. But still, we have to see how their coaching is different from Calgary's coaching, which was always very passive, even before Sutter too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that he's in for a rougher ride in the East because the hitting is more consistent and tougher all season long, and you're basically, doing ballet in the West.
Again, I don't know what the
You're
East
figure skating.
with the West. I still think it's going to go through Colorado next year. Again, I think Colorado and St. Louis are still going to be two teams that are going to be fighting. It just so happens both teams faced against one another when they did in the semifinals last year. I think that if St. Louis wasn't paying Colorado, I think they meet in the Western Conference Finals because I think that's how good St. Louis is. So I think both those teams are going to, in the Eastern Conference, it can go either way. There's so many good teams in the Eastern Conference. And even Tampa losing Palat, going to the Devils. You were talking about
Ruda too. Yep.
Yes, they're cooked.
They're
You think
cooked.
I still think they're going to be able to compete because they have the goaltending. They have the goaltending. Do they not?
Igor's better. That's the chant I heard.
Yes, but hopefully the Rangers can stay better. They lost 3 players too.
And I love the Rangers.
They're a dump.
I love what I heard from the Beef today, and Josh. I had him on the phone today, and I said, "Do you think the Rangers today are better than they were going into last year, going into playoffs?" And they said, "Yeah, I think so." How do you figure? You lost 3 important players to your team that helped you get where you were.
Did they even replace any of them? What's their big offseason get?
The center.
Trocheck is right now the one signing, but here's the problem.
So a fourth line center.
No, he's not a fourth line center.
No, he's a second line center.
No, he's a good player. He was a fourth line center when he first came to Carolina.
He's second line center
because he was coming off an injury, but he's
fourth line player.
No, he's not.
No, he's a second line center.
Fourth line in Carolina.
I think in certain points because he was coming back from injury, and Carolina's also got a lot of offensive depth, but also he played like a third or second line player, and he played second line most of his career with Florida. His problem is he's just had a lot of injuries. And
he's an old dump. That's what he is.
He's 29. He's not that old.
Dude, he doesn't even wear hockey pants. He wears Depends. He's an old.
He's just saying that he was the second line center of the Carolina Hurricanes last year. He was throughout the season. He was, and he's a good face-off winner. Yes. That's what he's known for, and that's something that the Rangers lacked last year,
big time,
winning face-offs, and that was a big one.
Dump.
But they lost Cobb, who played very well for them. Who's the other kid?
Vetrano.
Vetrano was the big one that
and
they
then
lost.
Ryan Strome as well. Both Vetrano and Strome.
And
went
they're losing,
Anaheim.
and they lost Mott. He's a free agent. They're not bringing it back.
Mott didn't sign yet with anybody, but
he's not signing with the Rangers.
Jury's still out on that.
He's not signing with the Rangers.
And this is what makes these Rangers muggles so funny. They think the player they got, who's like 36, by the way, right? He's old.
No,
right?
Trocheck's 29.
29.
He's still, he's not super old yet. No.
I thought he was older. Right. But still, the math is still the same. They think that one player is just as good as losing 4 players.
I said that too.
How dumb that is.
This is, I would have been fine with them trying to keep Kopp I would have been fine with Kopp and Trocheck, and if they lost the other 2, I would have been okay. But losing all 3 of them and only getting Trocheck and then only backup goalies besides that,
they lost 4.
Right.
Mott's not going back.
I don't like that either.
Mott was a big part of the team, especially in the second half of the season. And by the way, when he was in the lineup, the Rangers won in the playoffs.
And remember, they also lost Vetrano,
yes,
which is probably the for me is the biggest loss.
Yes,
right?
I think so too.
Because when I looked at the playoffs, when I watched the playoff games, when guys like Panarin and Zibanejad were turtling and they couldn't do anything, it was Vetrano stuffing the puck in the net.
Yes,
Vetrano was the one that Brad put his balls in his hand and was like, "This is what I got. Let's go."
Vetrano was a big loss. I think that was the guy that I think the Rangers should have signed and found a way to sign. And Kopp, I know I was surprised that Kopp left as quick as he did because he's very good friends with Trouba. They're best friends. One of them was in each other's like wedding parties, whatever it was, best man. It doesn't really matter. But the fact is that I even talked to another friend of mine today who was a Ranger. I talked to Josh. I talked to the Beef, and the Beef says, "Oh, the Islanders had no chance against Johnny Gaudreau. The Islanders had no." I was like, "Why do you?" He tells me, "Why do you hate the Rangers so much?" I said, "You're the one that hates the Islanders so much. You say the Islanders aren't going to get anybody. You think it's better that the Rangers lost 4 guys to adding 1. How does that make the Rangers better?" And I said that to him. Explain to me how today, for what the team was last year, with the chemistry that they had last year, how does this make the Rangers better? Explain it.
It doesn't. They're a dump.
I don't know about a dump. I think the Rangers are a playoff team.
And their fans are mouth-breathing scumbags. What a sucker punch that was.
They would have to have
absolute sucker
they would have
punch.
to have Trocheck play to the level he played in 2016 when his second year in the league when he was a near 90-point guy. For that to even be worth losing 4 other players. And they're going to have to hope that even the combined value of the third and fourth line players gets to a consistent regular season consistency.
Speedy, you're a real realist for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Do you think the Rangers are better now than they were last year?
No. Again, I would have been fine with if they kept Kopp and signed Trocheck, I would like it. Even if they lost the others, I would have been
So
fine
sitting
with that.
today,
So I would say no.
Where would you? How much worse are the Rangers today?
I would
if they're
say
losing those 4 players
significantly.
In terms of an overall point total, probably 10, 12 points worse.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But
And then
right, but at the
they
same
might
point,
only fall to the 3rd seed in the Metro. Like, I don't think, because I don't know if anyone else in the Metro got significantly better either, maybe besides Columbus, but I don't know if Columbus is even a playoff team yet either, even with good.
They'll be a playoff team.
They might be like a wild card. They're still kind of not great.
Don't they have
either.
Lanny too?
Yeah, but he's always so streaky. I never know what to.
You
think of
put him with Gaudreau, that's going to be something.
Yeah, it's a nice combo if Laine's on, but he disappears a lot. Nevertheless,
who's he played with on that team?
No, but even Winnipeg, when he played with a lot of talent too, he disappeared.
They're probably going to put him on the Lanny.
They're going to have to. Yeah.
Right, but the problem with your argument is, and Speedy, I do appreciate that you are a realist and saying, you know, they'd be 10 points worse, which is significant, and that's all well and good. But let's be honest, the regular season means dog shit, right?
Okay.
And when it comes to playoff time, when you lose that much depth, you're going to get your ass kicked.
No, I'm aware.
Because it's a 4-line game, and you're losing depth on 3 areas. You're losing a defenseman and significant pieces on your bottom 6. And if you're not 4 lines and 4 strong lines, you're dog shit. Other teams are going to eat you up in the playoffs.
Well,
that's why
I was saying that if they brought back Kopp too, I would have been fine with it because of how well even the kid line played, because they're going to get a bigger role this year if they play as well as they did in the playoffs. Now, that's still to be determined. They have to be more consistent in the regular season, especially Kakko and Hedl, because they weren't great in the regular season. They're going to have to be better as a whole too, in playing not necessarily third line versus second line, but playing more minutes. Also, Kopp and Trocheck, if they were able to get both of them, they're both good face-off guys, and it leaves Zibanejad as the number 1 center. That'll not necessarily solve, but not hinder the Rangers.
That
where
would
they
solve
were
the Rangers' problem.
Yeah, that would
have solved.
They wouldn't
the
be the
Rangers'
worst.
problem.
They wouldn't be the worst face-off team among the playoff
They kept
teams.
Kopp, and they had a Trocheck. That would have solved their face-off problem.
Yeah, because then you're dealing with 3 lines. Zibanejad, he's not great, but can be good with face-offs. We've seen that in the past when he first came to the Rangers and with Ottawa. Then you're dealing with the other 2, which are both over 50% consistently the last 3 years. That would hinder their biggest issue. Now, they could fill in the wings later if they're in to make the trade. Because remember, Vaccaro was a trade deadline deal. Who says there wasn't another type of that
Such a
out there
loss
next
for them.
year?
Such a loss.
So I think they would have been fine with that. Kopp is the one that's harder to replace, though, because there's not a lot of players with his skill set, which the Rangers really don't have a lot of on their roster, and that's why I'm annoyed they did not bring him back. Because Trocheck, yes, he does have the faceoffs, and he has been offensively skilled, but with the injuries that he's encountered throughout his career, and there's been a lot of years where he's been hurt, he's lost a lot of those overall point totals and speed. So,
right, but go back to last year's playoffs, this past season's playoffs with the Rangers. They already couldn't score 5-on-5, right?
Yep.
And they were at a deficit on 5-on-5. They were at a deficit.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, for sure. Okay. Now they've lost players. That deficit when it comes to the playoffs and 5-on-5 scoring is going to be steeper. And are you prepared for another season that we just saw with Rangers fans begging for calls because it was the only way that they could keep up with other teams? We need the referees to bail us out. The referees. It's the referees' fault. It's the referee. Call the penalty, referee.
The referees. That's it's so
Right.
funny. I said that on the 103.9 show, and I had one of these guys reach out to me, and he said, "How was the referees the other day?"
Right. But this is the problem. Your 5-on-5 is now worse. It's going to be worse. You're going to be at a bigger deficit come playoff time because I don't care about the regular season. You just got to make it to the tournament. And the Rangers are for sure good enough to get in the playoffs. For sure. But this is about playoff hockey and about building on what they just had. And they're not building on it. They're moving backwards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And delusional Ranger fans, not you, Speedy, because you've been a realist, but these other meatballs are saying, "Oh, we got Trocheck, and that's good." You're an idiot.
You know what we're gonna do?
4 dudes.
We're gonna get off with you, Jeff, and I'm gonna put. I want Speedy. I want you to call Josh up. I want Josh's argument. Jeff, I want you to listen to this when we get off the phone with you. I want you to hear Josh's argument to why he thinks that this makes them better. You ready to hear this?
It doesn't make them. It doesn't
All right,
make them better.
We'll call you. You could call back in. We're gonna put Josh on.
What a meatball.
Jeff from Tampa. We're gonna get Josh on. Get Josh on. I want to know his take. Tyler would be one of those meatballs. Yes, he is. You should see what Tyler posted up on social media when Trocheck was signed by the Rangers. Welcome to New York, our winning championship competitive team. I hope Josh calls, answers the phone, because I think Josh would be interesting to argue on this, because I want people to hear a Ranger fans point to his thought on where the Rangers are or what the Rangers are this year. So we're waiting for Josh to come on the phone. Speedy, you're still it's still ringing. So we're still waiting for Joshua, aka Silverbags, Sigger Ballback. Right? No, Ballsack Man is not called. We're trying to get. I'll text him.
I'm texting him now too. So
what are your thoughts? Because I'm gonna text him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the Trocheck signing itself, I like. I think it's a good contract for a guy that's 29 years old, has had some very good years at the beginning of his career with the Florida Panthers. Like, I think he's a talented player, and again, a guy that the Rangers definitely need if they were able to keep a lot of the other pieces in place. The problem is, he doesn't hit like Kopp does or play defense the same way. That will be still a loss. Now, he's going to be a second line center the way it works, because Strome was that his whole career or his whole Rangers career, and they really haven't replaced that consistency since then. They don't really have another pure center on the roster either. That includes losing Mott too. Hedl was subbed into the role of that on the kids line. He's not really a pure center. Lafreniere's capable of it. Is still not great in that role. So if they were able to keep Kopp, I was fine with it. I just think as a whole, that net loss is going to be too much. The wings I'm not as worried about, because I do think the kids will be able to take on a bigger role with him having with them getting to the development level they should. Lafreniere was a number 1 pick for a reason. Kakko was a number 2 pick for a reason. These guys are very highly touted, so they have to be able to get that upside going at some point. Especially Kakko, who's going to be a prove-it year. This year he was an RFA. The Rangers were able to bring him back, but next year will be an UFA. So if he doesn't prove it this year, he's as good as gone. Lafreniere is probably a little bit less of a leash with that because he's on his 3rd year now, but still has a lot to prove in terms of the number 1 pick capabilities of what he's supposed to bring to that. And he was supposed to be a guy that could have been developed into a center too. So there's a lot that still has to be unknown with the wings, but the centers are very hard to find in today's game, especially ones that had a well-rounded skill set like Kopp. So I think it's just too big.
Carl says Josh is on the rumor hotline. He ain't picking up. I'm trying to get him on, boys. I'm trying to get him on. I'm going to get him one way or another. I'm going to get Josh on to, I'm calling. You can hear the dial because I'm on live radio. I want to get this guy on.
Yes. But again, I think as a whole, it's still a tough when you're looking at the Rangers, just getting that 1 player in versus losing the 4. Yeah, they brought in a couple different backup goalies, fine, whatever. They didn't really gain anything else in terms of the skaters. So they're really trusting all the young players at once. The defense, I know Jeff mentioned they lost Braun too, but I'm not as worried about that because Zach Jones is going to play more this year, and also Nils Lundqvist is in the system too.
I'm going to call the Beav up.
Oh, you really think he'll be awake?
I know he's awake because he's going away on his little campaign tomorrow.
Campaign? Oh, we got him.
Are you home? All right, good. We're gonna put you on the show, Beav. We're gonna put you on the show. All right.
I want to go to sleep.
I know you want to go, but I was talking to you and Josh, and I want you to tell the fans on why you think today the Rangers are better than they were last year.
You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. You hear us? Beeve, you hear us?
Nope. And we lost.
Oh, the Beeve with his. I'll put him through again. Yeah, we're putting you through. Hold on. You hear us? You hear us now?
Hello?
Hold on 1 second. Do you call him on the?
I'm gonna call him on the other phone.
Call him on the other phone. I don't know why this isn't working. 631-664-7380. Put him through. Just put him through. Just put him through. He'll answer it. Just put him through. Put him through, Speedy. What's up, man?
What's up?
All right, you hear us. So tell the fans right now, because we were arguing why Ranger fans think that their team is better today with Trocheck than the players that they lost. Tell us why you think they're a better team today than they were last year.
They are a better team. They got a better center. Trocheck is a better player than Strom. He's probably 10 times better than him.
You lost 4 players for 1. What makes them better for that?
Well, Strom sucked, first of all. The guy was garbage.
They lost Cobb. He doesn't stink. They
All right.
lost
Well, no,
Vetrano.
He doesn't stink.
They
No,
lost
that's fine.
Vetrano.
Vetrano was up and down. He hasn't proven himself yet.
Vetrano won 10 games, 10
He
goals.
hasn't proven himself yet. He had a good playoff.
Haven't proven him. Hold on a second. Haven't proven himself.
He
Vetrano
hasn't proven himself.
Come on. Dude, he had 10 goals in the second half.
He is an up and down player. Let's see what he does next year. I guarantee he won't even come close to what he did.
And what makes you think Trocheck is that much better of a player? He's
so much better than center than Strom.
He's not better than 4 players, Beef. He's not.
He's better than Strom. Strom couldn't even hit a wide open net. Are you kidding me?
All right. And what makes you think he's better than Kopp and Vetrano and Mott?
Trocheck can win faceoffs. Strom couldn't.
We're not talking about Strom.
We're not talking about Strom. We're talking about Kopp. If they were able to keep Kopp, I don't know if you heard what I said, Beef, but if they were able to keep Kopp and side Trocheck, I'm fine with letting
They
the others
lost
walk.
4 players for 1, and you think they're better.
They didn't lose Mott yet because he didn't sign with
Dude,
anybody
Mott
yet,
is
so
not
they-
signing with them. They don't have the money. How are they going to? They're giving Capo Caco the money, right? They're signing him. If they're signing him.
They're signing
All right.
I told
So
you
they
were
can't
signing
sign
him.
Mott.
Oh, that's fine.
So they can't sign Mott. So they can't
will
sign
find
Mott.
a way to. They
How?
will find a way to sign
How?
him.
What are they going to do?
I don't know what they're going to do.
Call
Rory
Mr.
has a
I'll
plan.
tell you what to
He's
do.
got a plan.
They're going to call him Mr. Softy. That's what they're going to do. They're going to ask Mr. Softy to buy him with some ice
I'm going
cream.
to give you Mr. Softy.
Yeah,
all
you
right.
probably will. You
Yeah,
better
you
hope you're not going to use that in Maryland, buddy.
You're such a Ranger hater. It's unbelievable.
I am not a
You
Ranger
really-
hater.
Yes, you are.
You're telling me they're a better team.
You're out of your freaking mind.
So you're telling me right now the Rangers are better than they were last year.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what? How much you want to bet on that? Now, if the Rangers, because they're not bringing Mott back, if they're gonna, then they seem like they're gonna sign Capo Caco. I did read a story a little while ago that they're working on the deal right now. Right. If that happens, if that happens,
I told you they were going to sign.
all
him. I
right,
told you that.
all right. If that happens, it means there's not a chance in hell they're getting Mott back. There's not a chance. Okay.
There is a
no,
there's
no,
always
there
a
isn't.
chance.
How?
There is.
How? Tell me how.
I don't know how. He will find a way to sign him.
How? Tell me. They're over the salary cap after this deal with Capo Caco.
I read stories that they're going to bring Caco and Mott. They're going to sign. Both.
What's the kid's name, Speedy? Mott.
Tyler
Mott.
Tyler Mott. And it's Mott spelled like the applesauce.
Yeah, I got it.
M-O-T-T-E.
I heard 2 teams that are.
They're going to sign both of them. Trust me.
All right.
While you look that up, Carl says it's 11 p.m. The Beeve is Mr. Softy the rest of the night. Jeff says Vetrano was the only guy that scored in the playoffs. And
here,
don't read Jeff's comments because he's an
the
asshole.
Rangers, as it says right here, and this is from a Ranger writer. Can't believe the Rangers are probably going to let Tyler Mott walk at the expense of bringing Ryan Reeves back. So they're not bringing. This happened. This was written 9 hours ago. So they're not bringing. They're not bringing up. They're not. They're re-signing Ryan Reeves. They're giving. They are.
They're not signing. No.
They are. They are. They are. They're working on it.
I have inside information.
Oh, yeah, what is that? The beef information? It's beef.
No.
We're going to call it
Trust me.
The Beaver Dam information, right?
The Beaver Dam. Trust me, I have information. Trust me.
Beaver Dam Media. That's what we're going to call it.
Beaver Dam Media. You're such an idiot. I'm telling you right now, Ma will be a New York Ranger.
How much you want to bet? Let's put some money. Let's bet.
I'm not betting you on anything.
I'm
retiring from betting because I am undefeated on the show betting.
Oh, really? You're the king. So bet.
No.
Bet.
No, I'm betting.
I'll bet you $10.
$10.
I'll bet you $10.
What is that gonna get me?
But you got to give me the money. It's got to be cash.
No. What is that gonna get me? It won't even buy me a fucking.
Oh,
beer.
I'll tell you what. If Mont resigns with the Rangers, I'll wear a Ranger hat for the whole show.
Get out of here. No.
But if I win, you have to wear my Islander jersey and Islander hat for a whole show, and you got to come on the show. That's a deal. That's a deal.
Shouldn't both have the jerseys and the hats?
No. This is the deal that I want. The Rangers will have a better record than the Islanders next year.
How much you want to bet on that? Let's.
I want to bet jersey for jersey and hat.
No, because it has to be something else. It's got to be something funnier because I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting here.
I want to see you with a Ranger jersey and a Ranger hat on. That's what I want to see.
All right, here's the bet. Beef. If the Islanders have a better record than the Rangers next year, you have to wear underwear. You have to wear your underwear, and you have to wear it over your head. Like you have to wear it on your body, and then we have to pull it so it goes over your head, and you got to wear it for the whole show. We got to stretch your underwear. You got to wear it on top of you. I'm serious. And if I lose, I'll wear a Ranger jersey. I'll wear a Ranger hat. I'll paint my face blue and red for the whole show, and I'll sit here for the whole show as being. I would never wear a Ranger jersey. But if you lose, you got to wear your underwear over your head. We got to pull it over your head while it's over your. I will stretch it out. You got to wear it over your head. And on the back of it, it says Rangers suck.
No, I want the jersey for jersey.
No, this is great. This is a good bet. Make the bet.
Good bet.
Let's make the bet. Make the bet. You think the Rangers are going to have that much better of a record than the Islanders? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the Islanders will have a better record than the Rangers next year. I'm almost 100. I am almost, dude. They're not going to be going away in the beginning of the season. They're going to play. They're going to play back and forth, home and away games. They're not going to travel 11,000 miles in the first month, and they're not going to have COVID-19 problems that they had last year. And by the way, the Islanders in a quarter of the last of the season had one of they were amongst the league's top 3 in wins and losses. So if the Islanders didn't have a bad beginning of the season in the middle of the season with the COVID, they probably would have made the playoffs. So I'm willing to bet you. I'll bet you. You make that bet. You got to wear your underwear. We got to pull your underwear, and it's got to say on your underwear. It's got to say Rangers suck. I'll wear a Ranger jersey, Ranger hat, and paint my face blue and red for the whole show.
Blue and red.
For the whole show. I'll have it painted. Take the deal. It's a good bet.
No, it's not a good bet.
Why? All you're doing is wearing your underwear over your head. I'm pulling it over your head. You got to stretch it. I'll buy you big enough underwear to do it. Trust me. I'll get you the underwear. I'll get massively big underwear.
Jeff says beef loses in Long Island will get free potatoes.
Brittany just told me on the message that she'll paint my face blue and red if I lose. So make the bet. Make the bet. It's a fair bet. If you're so sure about your Rangers, make the bet. Because I'm sure that the Islanders will have a better record than the Rangers next year. I'm positive. I am 100% positive. So make the bet.
Well, we'll see.
No, we'll see. Make the bet.
We'll see. I don't know about that bet. I'm going to think of something else.
Carl says just no beef in studio. Well, he's going to have to be in studio to show the underwear if he loses, Carl.
No, the beef's going to come into the studio. He'll be back. He'll be in the studio when he gets back from Maryland. I'll be fun.
Well, Carl's another idiot, so he can stick his head up just that. All right.
Carl loves you, man. Everybody loves you.
Carl's another idiot. He thinks he's funny by taking personal shots.
He's not taking He's not taking a personal shot. He's just messing around with you. He's just messing around with you.
He's another jerk off.
Did you drink tonight?
Of course I did.
You sound like you did. You definitely drink. You driving drunk, man?
No, I never drive drunk.
Well, that's a relief.
Well, you know that's to be a lie.
Errol's coming to your house with a lie detector.
He can come with a lie detector. That's fine.
He's slurring. He's definitely drunk. But it's around the corner where he Don't worry, I won't tell the cops where you are.
Snug says, LOL, Earl and the Beeve are going to go underwear shopping together.
That would be a good idea, you know? I'll tell you, I like my...
I'm in the driveway. I'm ready to go to bed.
You're ready to go to bed? You getting ready for Maryland?
Yeah, with Brittany.
Oh, okay, good. Take Brittany. Brittany, Brittany likes to party. If she can get up in the morning, she needs to get up in the morning. But she'll go with you.
She'll get up.
Where are you going tomorrow, man? When you get there, what club are you going to?
I'm going right to the beach when I get there first.
Oh yeah, and getting drunk, right? Drinking a lot of beer.
Of course,
drinking a lot of beer.
I'll be drunk every night.
Are you gonna be stroking the chicken?
No
stroking the chicken.
No.
Is some guy gonna be stroking the chicken?
No.
Is somebody gonna be stroking the chicken?
Maybe some female. Who knows?
Maybe you should bring Speedy down there. He's looking to.
I wouldn't want to be caught dead in public with that guy.
I wouldn't want to be. One, I would hope you're not dead, and two, I would not want to be next to a dead body.
He would scare all the girls away.
I think he'd be a good pet for you. Like a pet dog. Speedy, you put a leash on his neck and you drag him around.
I don't know about that.
I think Speedy will shave his head. We'll put it.
I think I'd rather have Brittany as a wingman.
I think you're probably better off, but
I think I would be a lot.
But Speedy would be a good wingman too. I mean, I think you're not a good wingman. No, I would not. Do you like wings?
Yes, I do.
So you'd be a good wingman.
Yes, to eat wings, not that type of wings. Big difference there.
I can't. You guys are killing me.
No, we're trying to have your body not found dead. Remember?
No, I would never get laid if I took Speedy out.
Speedy, do you have beaver? Do you have a beaver?
No.
Have you ever had beaver?
No.
Do you want beaver?
Maybe. Yeah, sure. I suppose I'll try it.
You definitely need to try a beaver.
I'll try it.
You definitely need a beaver, man.
I'll try it.
I mean, beavers. Do you like it? Shaved or?
I would not eat. I would not eat. I would not eat beaver meat with hair on it.
I can't.
So you.
Yeah, Jeff, you're probably right.
What did he say?
No wingman in the world could help me. Yeah, that sounds about right. And no, I'm not eating it with hair on
No wingman in the world could help this dummy. He's talking about the beef. Line of the night by Speedy. Cut that line, Errol. That is the line of the night.
I can't. Oh my god. I can't.
So, which way? Do you like it in a diamond shape?
I'm not analyzing the shape of the meat.
Well,
I've never had the meat. Let me just try it on its
I
own
know you've
first.
never had the meat, but I think the meat would be good for you.
Okay, it's exotic. I don't know what
It is exotic.
Like.
Definitely for you, it'd be exotic.
I'm sure in most places it's exotic.
It would be,
They don't
especially
serve beaver meat at every restaurant.
Yes, they do.
I can't. I'm done. I can't.
Thank you, Carl.
The kid is lost. He's really lost. He's so lost.
Oh,
I
Speedy.
can't. Poor Speedy.
Oh, he's great. Oh, anyways, beef.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you
God.
tomorrow, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Have a good night. Take care.
Beef. Oh, what's Carl saying over here, Speedy? It is
Speedy is called kegs, legs, and eggs.
Ooh.
Okay, good rhyme, Carl. All right, Jeff's calling back.
What's going on, Jeff?
All right, Jeff, you're back.
I would just like something on the record because I had to do something a couple of weeks back that was ridiculous.
Okay, let's hear it.
Were those personal attacks that I heard?
What? With who?
Was I called an asshole?
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Was that a personal attack?
I wouldn't. I don't. Would you? Would you call it a personal
Is
attack?
that a personal attack?
I think he's being sarcastic.
No, he wasn't. Did he say?
No. I think I'm saying I think you're being sarcastic. I don't think you're actually that offended by it, Jeff.
No. I wouldn't be if I didn't do what Errol made me do. And Errol was on that phone call.
Yes, he was.
And did he make a big deal of it?
Yes, he did. That's the beat.
And now what happened? So I don't.
I think he's drunk.
Anymore. So I don't care.
He's drunk.
I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Carl says he called me an idiot, and I guess I should be shoved up Jeff's ass. That's what he said.
Right. Yeah. Would those be personal attacks? And by the way, Carl hasn't done anything to the beef, has he?
No.
But
he was definitely the beef was slurring.
No. So when I don't care. So when he cries, literally boo-hoo cry about personal attacks, he can actually go fuck himself now. And I don't care. Say whatever you want. But he made such a big deal about it and pouted like a just child. Was he not?
He wasn't happy.
Yeah. He pouted like a child. You're not saying no.
No, he wasn't happy.
Those are the two choices, yes or no.
Yes.
There you go. Don't you find it funny?
I find everybody
Isn't that
could
ironic?
be. Yeah, people could be hypocritical. They can.
Oh, see? There's another good one. Hypocritical.
Yeah.
What an idiot. And only a drunk person would think the Rangers have gotten better.
Well, he's a Ranger fan.
Speedy's the most even-keeled guy going out there. And even he knows they got worse.
Oh, they definitely got worse. I mean,
you can't say one guy replaces four dudes. It's a four-line game. You just dropped an entire line from your team.
And the Rangers,
much, yeah.
And the Rangers lost. And if that's a winning offseason, well, good for them. He still thinks they're going to sign Mott. They're talking about re-signing Reeves, and it seems like that's what they're going to do because Reeves is.
Now listen. This is where Speedy will help me on this one because, very admittedly, on this one, I am not knowledgeable about any player in the Rangers farm system. And if they have enough youngsters that can come up maybe and plug some holes,
they have the Russian kid.
They have.
Maybe it would help.
They have defense that could help. That's why I know you mentioned they lost Braun. I don't think that's going to be a big loss because Zach Jones and Nils Lundqvist both played last year, and they're both good prospects. Offensively, they don't have a center worth talking about in the system. That's what worries me the most. Errol mentioned Kravtsov, but they've been also trying to trade him too.
Which I don't understand.
I don't know. He's a very weird situation.
He's been playing
right
well
now
in the KHL.
Yeah, again, it's the Rangers were trying to move him in the beginning of the season last year too. His situation is very weird. It might be similar to what they did with Elias Anderson, who I liked for the little bit he was up, but turned into a bust there, and then he ended up going back to play in Sweden. And I think Kravtsov is on that route now too at this point, so it's not something I would bank on. And besides that, it's tough to tell right now if they have anything else with the Wings. Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not knowledgeable enough to speak intelligently about the Rangers farm system.
Most of it's defense right now, though.
But because a lot of teams can let because what we're talking about here is bottom six guys that they lost.
Right.
So a lot of teams have guys that can come up and plug holes in bottom six roles.
Right. Which the Rangers still have some depth in that too. They trade away Morgan Barron as part of the Cop trade, who was playing a lot, but they still have other guys that played well for them at certain points. Julian Gauthier, Johnny Brzezinski was another one too that played good fourth line at certain points. So they'll fill in and play more often. Dryden Hunt they just re-signed as well, who's more of that goon type too, but still again a guy that's a good leadership guy.
Who would you rather go out to a dinner with? and try to meet a girl? Jeff or the Beef? Honestly.
Jeff.
Why? Why wouldn't you want to go out with the Beef? I would like to know.
I don't know. Dude.
I
don't have a positive outlook of what the Beef would want to do.
Do you think the Beef has game? Do you think he can get?
Probably. I don't know.
Do you think you can out-talk a woman?
No.
To sleeping with you than the Beef can?
No.
You don't really think so?
I don't have faith in that.
No. Why is that?
Because
Come to Tampa, Speedy. I know plenty of lovely ladies that would be happy to hang out.
Look at that, Speedy. Why don't we fly you over there and Jeff will hook you up? But you're gonna have to shave your balls.
Oh God. Carl says,
Speedy. A lot of them are very limber. They dance for a living.
Speedy, hippo beaver meat or ostrich beaver meat? What are you talking about? What are you trying to have some hybrid creatures now, Carl? That's interesting. I guess ostrich beaver meat. I suppose. I don't know. I don't.
So you
know.
like the beaver?
I don't
you
know
like
what.
the beef
I don't
a little bit long.
I don't know if hippo meat would taste that good.
You don't fall into this. Beaver is a euphemism for pussy. Don't fall into this.
Stop it.
Don't stop doing it with these guys. They're making fun of.
Stop giving us the.
So don't.
Stop with the info. Stop with the info here.
Right.
You're stealing.
Don't give in to these guys, Speedy. They're trying to bait you into being dirty. Don't do it.
No, we're not trying to be dirty. We're just asking him questions. They're very good. They're very good questions. Oh, hold on with that. 1 second. Brittany says the woman loves Speedy. Actually, LOL. It's quite funny. He don't even know what's going on. LOL. So it's true. The women do like Speedy, but what happens with Speedy is he gets a little drunk. He gets a little woozy, and then he gets a little too close with them, and he kind of scares them. But
so he's a creep.
No, he's not a creep. Speedy's not a creep. He just needs to learn how to keep a distance. So when he's having a conversation, he doesn't have to be so close with them. He can keep it, arm's length and have a conversation.
Snug venture for you, of course, Jeff, in that question. And then Carl says 0 game for Beef.
You really think the Beef has 0 game? That's interesting. Do you think the Beef has 0 game?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
You've never seen the Beef try to move in and try to talk to a girl?
Not
You've never
directly.
seen it? You've never seen it?
Embarrassing.
I actually have. It's so. I give Beef a lot of credit because he's got a set of balls on him. He does. He really does.
When you're that ugly.
He's not ugly. Stop.
I mean, we've all seen him.
Okay. I want to know, everybody listening to the show, if you were to grade the Beef 0, 1 from 1 to 10, I want to see a grade. Honestly, honest to God grade. Okay. Honest to God, Speedy, what would you grade the Beef in looks? Honestly, it's not going to make you any different as a man. What would you grade him from 1 to 10?
5.
A 5,
I guess.
Think about that for a second. Speedy's one of the most kind people on the planet. He just called him a 5, so we know that's a high rating.
Snug says 2.4.
2.4. All right. So Snug 2.4. The B so far. Speedy gives him the highest grade. Okay, what would you?
Just because he's kind.
What would you give him? Honestly, be nice. Carl gives him a 3.
What would I give him?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. Words don't do justice on how I couldn't describe the Beef in words in how he looks. Fortunately, numbers can do that. 2 out of
10. 2 out of 10. I'll give the Beef a 6 because he just with everything, I give him a 6. All right. I think he's better than what you guys.
Don't forget personality matters.
Yeah, I give him a 6. He's not as bad as you guys think he is. All right. He really is a good person. He really is. He's just I think in the long run. But anyways, getting back into, the hockey offseason, it's been crazy. I mean, where is Patrick Kane going? That's what I want to know, because it seems like he's done with Chicago. Everything that I've read, he's done with Chicago. So where's he going? We heard the Rangers. Now the Rangers don't have the money to get him.
Don't laugh. He can go home to Buffalo. He's from Buffalo. He can go home and
play.
And that's a young team with some talent that's getting better.
How many times have we said this is a young team with talent that's going to get better, and they never do, though?
Yeah, but you want to know what? Addition by subtraction, be honest now. Be honest. They've gotten better since dumping Jack Eichel.
Yes,
I suppose, but it's still.
I want to
So
see
now
Jack
throw in
Eichel
the
play with.
hometown kid.
Maybe that's why they traded whatchamacallit again to who did that? To Carolina. Pacioretty was traded.
Oh,
to
Vegas
Carolina.
got traded to Carolina. Yeah, Pacioretty. Yeah.
Vegas didn't get traded.
Not get traded
Or no,
to Carolina.
Vegas traded
That's
Pacioretty.
geographically impossible.
No. He said Buffalo. I was trying to think of a Buffalo player.
No,
that
so
traded to Carolina.
Pacioretty.
Yeah, no,
So
Pacioretty,
maybe
yeah.
now I think they did that because Eichel's coming back and that gives them the offense that they need. I don't know because Eichel didn't play at all last year. I'm pretty sure, right?
Right, he had the neck surgery.
Right,
He
so-
only played like 10 games or something. How many
Right.
games?
So
he played a couple games that got hurt again. Yeah.
I mean, that money is a lot, so they had to
So
get.
he's going to re-sign there, and Patrick Kane back to Buffalo. Hometown kid makes good.
You really think that's where he's going?
I don't see many other teams with the salary cap space to sign him.
I mean, the Islanders
And
could.
Chicago is just a dumpster fire.
Oh, they are.
Chicago's miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, the Islanders could, but I think he's too old. I think the Islanders give him. How old is he? 34.
Yeah, Kane's on the older side. I want to say he's 32.
He's older than that. Patrick Kane's older than that.
33. Yep, right. in between.
33. He's 33
So
years
right
old.
in between.
Yeah. So
Speedy wins. He Price is Right rules.
I said he was 33. I said he was 33.
Right. No, everything goes.
You said
Price is
34.
Right
I
rules.
said 32. Right in between. So.
Right. I also said 34. Speedy said 32. Speedy wins. Price is Right rules. Closes without going over.
Shut up with your prices. He's making what, 2.9 million a year, right? He's making 2.9 for 2022. So that's a pretty good. I mean, why don't the Islanders try to make a move for him? I think he'd be a good fit over there with the Islanders.
Oh, who wouldn't be a good fit?
No. I'm talking about a winger. They need a winger. If they want to keep Barzell there, I mean, at the center position, why don't they make a move
go
for?
Go get Petrano.
Petrano went to Anaheim already.
Oh, damn. Hey, I'll give you one that could be on the move. Very seriously. Good player, too. Danton Hyman.
Oh, here's a rumor right now. They're in the talks right now. Oilers inquire on blockbuster deal with the Blackhawks for Patrick Kane.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that one too.
Can you imagine that offense as Patrick Kane as a second line?
Right now they're negative in cap space right now though, so they're gonna have to get something.
Well, they're going to have to trade away pieces to get him, to add him. So they're talking about
they could dump Mike.
Pretty much all their veteran defensemen will have to go, and then man, that's probably it. Probably one or two veteran defensemen.
Did they sign Evander Kane? They did.
They did. Yeah, they did.
5.2 million a year or something.
Yep.
Wow, Evander Kane had a good year too.
Carl says Oilers trade Kane for Kane. Yeah, that'd be funny. But
but here's the thing: the Oilers can trade 5 out of their 6 defensemen because Darnell Nurse plays the whole game anyways.
True, that is true. Yeah, but right now they're in negative, so they're definitely gonna have to get rid of 2 of those defensemen in order to make it work. The other, there's Winnipeg's an interesting one too. They got 14 million. Maybe losing a lot of the forwards they've lost the last few years. Maybe they pursue it if they still think they can win. Got Jeff, what are you saying?
Let me just tell you, no one, and this is a real thing. Go ahead and look it up. No one voluntarily is ever going to Canada to play hockey. No one ever.
Why is that?
I'm not saying that.
Why is that?
For
Why do you think that?
But I don't know.
Because of the pay rate. Because of the pay rate. Do you know if I get paid $5 million for Ottawa, and you get paid $5 million a year for your beautiful New York Islanders? Do you know I make $1 million less a year because of the Canadian tax rate?
That's right. You said that. That's right.
No one's ever going there.
And plus, Canadian money is not as much as American money either, right?
No. They make up. No, they make up for it on the scale.
Oh, okay.
They do the conversion, so it comes out to be equal.
Got it.
All contracts are paid in American dollars. Convert it how you will or whatever, right? So that is what it is. But it doesn't matter. The Canadian tax rate is so high, it's unreal. That's why Johnny Gaudreau is not going back to Calgary. He'd have gotten killed in the tax rate.
Do you think that's the reason why?
It's literally the difference. Errol and I, Speedy, had a conversation earlier about DeAndre Ayton and his contract, okay? And when you break it down, it's literally the difference between him going to Indiana or staying in Phoenix where there's no state tax, or going to California and paying 20% state tax. You get killed. You get killed in taxes. The money isn't equal everywhere. It's not.
No, it's interesting. And what is Chicago asking for a Patrick Kane? Now, he's still a great player.
Judging by the DePrinket deal and the deal for Kirby Doc, I would say Kane's probably worth a pastrami sandwich.
All right, which city makes the best pastrami sandwich?
I'll make him a pastrami sandwich if he sends him to the Islanders. They send him to the Islanders.
No,
I'll take that.
Beef's Deli would never make a pastrami sandwich to go to the Islanders.
I mean,
but this is what I'm saying. Look at the other deals and look at what they gave away their other star players for, and it was disgusting how little they got back for them.
No, I know.
Right? Yeah, it was disgraceful. So just judging on that, I listen. Maybe you could just call them up and offer them a washing machine, like in Semi-Pro. Hey, we'll give you our washing machine.
Yeah, right. Semi-Pro. I know you love that movie, Semi-Pro.
Oh, dude, it's such a classic. I watched it again last night.
So looking at the other teams with different cap spaces, Anaheim actually has the most available ones right now, 30 million. I guess they could possibly try. They need more defense than they do offense.
Right, but it doesn't matter. All the contending teams have little to none. Pittsburgh's re-signing.
No, Pittsburgh's in the negative right now.
Right. So, and let's be honest, Patrick Kane isn't going to say, "Oh, trade me to the desert. I don't mind playing in Arizona." Who's going to win 7 hockey games next year?
Yeah, there's not a lot of contenders in the positive. I guess if the Flames could replace Gaudreau with Kane, they got 20 million. But again, how much better does that make? Is that really a net gain, net loss type thing? And then
might just make them even. But right now, without Gaudreau, it makes them worse.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're probably the best team right now with a double-digit amount of salary cap space. I know you mentioned Buffalo. They got 19. What'd you say?
But they only need to absorb what Kane was getting paid. Didn't you just say he was only getting $2.5 million? Or something?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. All right. In that case, that puts a lot of teams in the running then. But again,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, that would up it. I'm just going through some of the potentially contending teams that have double-digit salary caps.
I mean, that salary seems low to me. But didn't you say that's what he was getting paid this year?
Yeah. That's what you said was for his 2022 salary, because I know that obviously that wasn't his whole contract, but it might have been front loaded at the time when they gave it to him in 2014,
so
because that's the last year of the deal.
$2.5 million, he could go almost anywhere.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. In that case, that only eliminates the negative teams, and Montreal's at like 423,000.
Let's put it this way: $2.5 million is less than Nick Foligno is making.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so anyone can absorb that.
Yeah, there's really only Florida that can't, Tampa can't, Pittsburgh, like you said, can't. The Rangers can't. The Flyers can't. That's funny to think. And they were a team of the rumors for Gaudreau, and then we can't do this. We overpaid everybody else.
But in reality, any team can acquire him because his salary is so low. They could send back contracts from the Blackhawks to absorb it while sending them draft picks or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in reality, he could really go anywhere.
Right. Edmonton is negative, Vancouver and St. Louis, but every other team could do it. And Minnesota, every other team could do it.
I'm still going to stick with Buffalo.
Buffalo's got 19. They could do it and then maybe give him like one, not long contract, but one big like last payday type thing for his career.
Right, get him for 5 years. That would seem like a winning deal, dude.
By the way, Carl wanted to mention to you, Achilles Smith was the only quarterback with a worse completion percentage than Tim Tebow.
Mention it to me?
No, mention it to Jeff.
Right. So the third worst bust in NFL history is the only person by 1 percentage point with a worse passer rating or completion percentage than Tim Tebow. This isn't like, it's such a joke that that's the only thing anyone can come up with, right? Like that's such a joke. That's how bad Tim Tebow was, and people ignore it. And let's be honest. Let's be honest. If we're being honest, Tim Tebow is the 4th biggest bust in football history. Achilles Smith being 3, probably Robert Gallery at 2, and Jamarcus Russell being the biggest.
2 of them being Raiders. Carl says he is worth a deep dish pizza at this point when he comes to the Blackhawks talent evaluation. And do the Golden Knights need him? Maybe, but they're in the negatives too, so they're going to have to trade some other contracts away.
Salary, they can do things. There's plenty of time to do it. Any team in the league can absorb $2.5 million if that's all he's thinking.
Yeah, I think they can make it work if they really do want him. Do they necessarily need him? I don't think so, but I mean, they just need to stay healthy. That was their main problem this year.
Don't count out Tampa. They could.
The Golden Knights sound that they just lost a player. They could. The Golden Knights can make that move for Patrick Kane.
Yeah, it's possible.
Don't count out Tampa. He can take Andre Palat's spot.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? Tampa gets him. I mean, honestly, Kane's better than Palat. He's a good player,
easily.
but he's better than Kane's still a good player. I just think he's on the aging side, and I think he's one of the greatest American-born hockey players ever play the game. I still think he has a good 2 years, 3 years left, and that's why, being that he's available and he's not that expensive right now, if I were the Islanders, I would absolutely reach out to Chicago and see what they want. You know, because they're not giving. You know, when you look
how
at
funny this is, Errol is suggesting.
I'm just suggesting
anybody.
if the Island. No, I'm suggesting that if the Islanders are looking for a wingman that could score goals and help out, Barzell, I think he's a guy that would absolutely fit over there. They need a guy that can put the puck in there.
Something.
I'm not begging Lou to do anything, dude. I think he will do something, but is it going to be a big splash? I mean, you lost Johnny Gaudreau. If he does make a move, is it something that Islander fans are going to be happy about? Are Islander fans going to be happy with JT Miller?
Are Islanders fans happy about anything?
No, I'm just saying, is JT Miller something that shines everything that you've seen?
Two segments ago, he was for you.
No, I think he's a good player. Is Johnny Gaudreau? No. I don't. I think he had a good season last year. Consistently, he hasn't been a consistent goal scorer.
No, he was never consistent with the Rangers. Either.
So I mean,
he got better with Vancouver, but
is he that much better? I mean, the guy that the Islanders lost to Seattle. I mean,
Eberle.
He's like an Eberle. He's not he's inconsistent.
Right.
So why would JT Miller be the piece that they're missing? I mean, Patrick Kane is a significant upgrade to that position that they need. If they can get him, but is Lou even making that move? I haven't seen anything in the last couple hours. What is
Carl says Islander fans are only happy when they spend less than 2 hours on the Long Island Expressway.
Probably right on that.
And he also says, going back to your bust conversation with the NFL, Todd Marinovich was a bust, but only because everyone around him built him up into an anxiety case.
Marinovich gets a pass. He was abused as a kid forever.
Oh, really? Was he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's bad. Wow.
Severely abused.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
Yeah. But still not as bad as we're going to abuse the beef.
Carl said, yeah, we were talking about Vegas just during the negatives, Carl. It's possible with them losing Pacioretty for them to go, and they've seen the big swings, but it's not their biggest need, but it's definitely possible for Vegas for them to go after him. But yeah, the Anaheim has the most salary cap right now, and Jeff's case with Buffalo definitely interesting at $19 million.
I would also, like, if I was a betting person, which I am, I love it.
Yes,
but
we
if
know.
I was a betting person, I would also be looking at Seattle to make some moves, because what they did in their expansion draft was try to acquire players that they could later flip to teams to get different dudes. And I think, maybe for the right price, like a Yanni Gourde could be available.
Yeah, that's possible. Seattle right now at right above $10 million.
The only thing is you can't remember, the Islanders have a limited amount of money, so you can't just go out, because right now they lost on the Gaudreau sweepstakes, and the Islanders are one of only two teams that haven't made a move or haven't made a signing since the free agency market opened up. So obviously, a lot of Islander fans are sitting here today and probably saying, what the hell's going on, Lou? You said that they're going to go heavily on, and you had plan B. Maybe in a couple of weeks, plan B is going to be set, but we don't know where they're going with plan B. They need another offensive player. That much is true. But what is Lou going to do in the next couple of weeks that's going to make Islander fans happy? Does he have a trade up his sleeve that makes sense for him? Moving, I don't know. I don't know, but what I've read so far is they went heavily after Gaudreau and struck out.
It might be somebody we haven't even heard about being rumored too. Miller and Tarasenko are the only two that was publicized, but we just saw the Sharks trade away Brent Burns. Maybe they're trying to rebuild, so maybe one of their top guys are available too. Probably not Timo Meier, but maybe somebody like Couture or somebody like that. One of their older guys could be available. And I would say I guess we're looking at Florida, maybe one of their guys, because they're in the negatives right now for salary cap right now, negative 2.9. Maybe one of their offensive, maybe not the top, obviously not the top guys.
It's definitely,
but one of those guys
it's definitely interesting because if you, and I know as an Islander fan, and Islander fans, I've been reading a lot of things. The Islander fans are not very happy with Lou because they decided to part ways with Barry Trotz. They bring in a rookie coach. Yes, he's been under Barry Trotz his whole career, but he's a rookie coach. He's never done it before. And you struck out. You traded away your 13th pick for a Romanov. Now Romanov could turn out to be fantastic. He's got speed. He's got everything that they're looking for. But if he doesn't, he struck out there. And Islander fans are kind of skeptical about what Lou has not done so far this year. Now Lou has been GM of the year 2 years out of the 3 years that or 4 years that he's been there. So you can't sit here and say that Luke is not going to find a way to find, because this is what Yankee fans do to Brian Cashman. They attack him, and then all of a sudden, as the season progressively went, the Yankees are by far the best team in baseball, and he made like one or two small moves. So I'm not saying that's what Lou's going to do, but Lou has done it before. He understands how to win. And Jeff, you know this just as much as everybody. If you're going to trust in somebody, do you trust in your GM or you trust in your coach? You're probably going to trust in the guy that's won championships, multiple championships in his career.
Man, I mean, I just think it's listen. I think it's a poor comparison to compare Lou Lamoriello to Brian Cashman.
Why is that?
I think it's a very poor because the Yankees have a good track record of winning, a proven track record of winning. The Islanders do not.
No, but
So
when okay, hold on.
Say,
Since Lou's been there, have they any losing seasons?
Last year?
No, they had a winning season. They didn't make the
were
playoffs.
Dog shit compared to what they should have been.
Yeah, but because of a lot of things that happened. But were they a winning team? Did they have a winning record?
Because of a lot of things that happened. So yeah, they were dog shit.
Yeah, they weren't dog shit. They were not. How could you say no? They were not.
Pretty terrible.
How are they pretty terrible? They had what?
37, 35, and 10, 84 points.
Yeah, they had 84 points. Okay, that's not terrible.
They make the playoffs?
No,
they didn't.
So they were one of the bottom.
They had to travel 11,000 miles in the beginning of the season, Jeff. Stop.
I know schedule.
No, it's not schedule. They had no home.
That's a bad
I know it's about the Islanders, and they shouldn't have done that with the. I understand that, Jeff.
So here's the other thing. They did it to themselves.
Fine. Did they do it themselves when they lost 9 guys to COVID at the same time? And that the NHL should have canceled. The NHL decided to cancel the games after the fact.
Don't go out. Stay home. Get DoorDash. You don't need to be out. You're a hockey player. Do your job. The fact that you're
just because you're home doesn't mean you can't get COVID.
The fact that you're careless and you were amongst the mouth.
How are you careless? Your kids could go to school. Your kids got to go to school, right? Right?
Put them on the school bus.
Okay.
And by the way, they were homeschooled too. Don't go out.
Jeff, you're out of your mind. Okay. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, COVID was very easy to catch. You can't blame the players because the players have to go, from one place to another, and the kids got to go to school, and their wife's got to work.
It's New York. Let someone else pump your gas. You don't need to be outside.
Oh God. You see what we deal with, Speedy, over here. The one thing Islander fans are not happy about was the Barry Trotz thing. They were not happy about it, and they don't. Lou didn't make when the press asked him why he fired him, he couldn't give a straight answer because I obviously Lou knows something that we don't.
Right, but let's be honest. Anytime anyone gets fired, okay, it's not a good look if you trash the guy you just get fired. He got fired. He had his reasons. Just because New Yorkers are nosy and need to know everything doesn't mean that they're going to get him to trash the former. If you're a GM and you trash the former coach, no one wants to show up and work for you. That you're going to throw him under the bus like that. That you're going to treat him terribly. No one else wants to go there. So thinking that Lou Lamoriello was just going to show up at some press conference and be like, yeah, I got rid of that fucking jackwagon. He was a piece of shit. Wasn't going to happen.
Carl says Lou is lost in the octagon at Say Tuha Karate, or is he lost in the strip mall in Ronkonkoma? Snuck says, I don't know. Yanks are on the skids, especially dropping 2 to the Reds the way they did.
Who cares?
And then half the league makes the playoffs. They were not good. Yeah, they were the third team. They were the third highest point total of teams that missed the playoffs.
The Yankees are on the
And
skids.
the way that Errol talks about COVID, you'd think the Islanders were the only team that had to deal with it.
At the time, hold on one second. When the Rangers, the Montreal Canadiens, and Toronto Maple Leafs had the problems, they had lost 4 guys. Then all of a sudden, they canceled the season for 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks. When the Islanders had 9 guys or 10 guys, and they started guys we never even heard of for almost 3 weeks when they had 9 guys on the shelf, and they lost, 13 games in a row? No, nobody did anything. So please, Jeff, don't get me started. This has nothing to do with being an Islander fan. This has everything to do with the NHL and the way they treated when it came down to the situation.
Them's are the breaks.
Oh, you see, you're making a joke because that was wrong. It was wrong.
Because when it was the Islanders, it was only one team, and then when it became 4 or 5 teams, they were like, "Whoa, we need to take a break."
Dude, the Islanders lost 9 starters. 1, 2, 3.
The league took appropriate action. And got it under control.
Okay.
Good for Gary Bettman for being a leader.
No, Gary Bettman's an idiot, okay? And Gary Bettman sitting there when 9 players on the shelf, when your starting goaltender was on the shelf, your backup goaltender was on the shelf, your two best players were on the shelf, your best winger was on the shelf. They were all your 2 best defensemen were on the shelf.
I get your frustration with the fact that COVID only existed on Long Island and nowhere else.
Oh God! You see, it's ridiculous. They lost 9 players. The NHL should have saw that and canceled the games at the time. How do you play? The Islanders played 9 guys. 4 or 5 of the guys we don't even know who they are.
Well, I know.
And the Islanders lost 13 games in a row, and they had a 3rd or 4th string goaltender playing for almost 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't want to hear about 3rd and 4th.
Oh, don't bring up the Penguins.
No, I know. I don't want to hear anything because from what I heard from Ranger fans, if you beat 4th string goalies, you might be one of the greatest hockey teams on the planet.
The irony is now they have one of them. Louis Domingue signs as one of the backups.
Oh, he signed with them?
Yeah, and so did Halak.
That's pretty funny.
Both of them.
Yeah, I said to Errol earlier, dude, as a Bruins fan, I liked Halak as a backup goaltender.
No, I like Halak on the Rangers for the sole purpose of he can't destroy the Rangers like he always did when he was with the Islanders.
Dude, Halak was a brilliant signing. He replaces Georgiev in that role, and they got something for Georgiev, and all they paid Halak was $1.5 million. That's a win.
Before we go, there was a report that the Yankees reportedly were interested in Andrew Benintendi, and because he wouldn't get his vaccination, the Yankees will not be needing his services because he cannot play in Toronto. So the Yankees have given up on Andrew Benintendi. Are you surprised? No.
Very surprised. I'm extremely shocked because from what I just understood, COVID only existed on Long Island, and I'm curious how it got to Kansas City.
Yeah, 10 players. They can't travel. Whit Merrifield also, too, which is another guy they've been trying to trade, too. And that'll eliminate a lot of the AL East teams.
Well, it's because of the vaccination. Because Brian Cashman said if you're not vaccinated, he will not trade for you.
Now, it's not going to hurt a National League team from trading for him because the odds are that unless they play in the World Series, they're not going to be in Toronto. And maybe not a contending team in a different division. But the AL East teams, that'll hinder a lot.
That sucks because down there.
All jokes aside, it makes perfect sense, though, right? Because, let's face it. You play the Blue Jays 16 times in a season. I don't know how many you've already played them. I'm assuming at least 6, right?
Yeah, they're going to play either 9 or 10 games in Toronto, depending on what the split
is.
is.
Right, but then on top of that, the Blue Jays could make the playoffs.
Right.
And if you have to travel to Toronto for a playoff game, are you telling me you're going to trade for a piece that you believe is going to be integral in helping this team make it to the World Series, and he's not going to be available in a playoff series? That doesn't make much sense. Right. So I completely understand what Cashman's thinking.
That's why I'm thinking that his market's now going to be limited to just the National League teams at this point. Maybe a team like the Brewers makes a trade at the Giants, maybe if they want to know.
And the Yankees need depth in the outfield. So where are they going? Where are they going to go? Where are they finding?
They already made a trade.
Yeah, that's for the infield. It's Wade, Tyler Wade.
He's a versatile.
That's
guy.
just.
But they made that's the move they made.
He's not. No, he's
they're
looking for.
They're looking for a center field type. So Aaron Judge is at the play center field all the time too, and being the Aaron Hicks had that bad injury earlier this week too. They need somebody like that.
Well, it's negative. His injury came up negative.
Okay. But still, he's also
Hicks.
And I saw that in real time. I thought he broke it.
No, it came up negative. So it's just I think they said a deep bruise or something like that. So.
Okay, that's good, I guess, for the short term. But he's also still
You know
somebody
what
that's injury prone, though, too.
Dude, you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember years ago when Jermaine Dye broke his leg?
Yeah, that was bad. I remember that.
Dude, that's exactly what it looked like. I was like, oh, that's broken.
Yeah, if it was that bad, wow. But yeah, I think the Yankees still want somebody like that, though, too. Because remember, they're also trying to manage Stanton in the outfield, too, to make sure he doesn't get hurt. And same kind of thing with Judge. He hasn't gotten hurt yet this year, but he's playing a lot of center field, so that kind of thing could catch up to him at some point, and you don't want it to have to be at a crucial time for the Yankees.
What's their depth? What's their depth out there? Even with Hicks out, don't they have other guys that can go out there and play?
Most of them are converted infielders that aren't center field types. They're looking for more of a.
And they're
center
probably
field type.
trading Gallo. That's
Yeah.
what everything we've read is, unless they trade him to Texas, because I heard
Gallo
Texas
can play center field.
Yes, but they're looking to move him. So, and I heard Texas. I heard Texas is very interested in him.
Not surprising.
So,
what, they're going to ship him back to Texas?
I'm just telling you what I heard. Yep.
What a weird deal that would be. You just got him from Texas, only to send him back to Texas.
Yeah, that's what they said. And
they liked him over there.
In the last 10 games, the Yankees are 4-6, so they're on a skid right now. But I'm not surprised. I didn't expect them to go at that full pace. But going into the weekend with the Red Sox before the All-Star break, the Yankees
Don't worry, you guys will beat us. We stink right now.
Yeah, the Red Sox play well.
Don't
against
do
the
that.
Yankees.
Did they lose tonight too? Did they get swept?
They lost 4 in a row.
They lost again like they lost last night, making little league mistakes, tossing the ball around. They were winning 3-0. They allowed 5 runs in the 7th inning. Game over.
I saw how Tampa got the 4th run yesterday. That was bad.
Dude, all of those runs were just chucking the ball around like Little League. They're playing awful right now. Awful baseball. They don't have a single good starting pitcher.
Yep.
The
Mariners are coming, Jeff.
They're all playing rookies right now. It's a bad time to be a Red Sox fan.
Yep, Seattle's coming.
Are they getting body bagged?
Terrible. Terrible right now.
Are they in banana? Are they in banana land?
Absolutely stuffed in a locker right now.
Are they Are they going to banana land?
The Boston Red Sox look worse than the Bees right now.
Well, that means they're 2.5 right now.
Oof, terrible. They're bad, dude. They're bad. They should have won all 3 games, and they lost by making, very seriously, some of the worst Little League mistakes I've ever seen in my life. Horrible.
Carl says ESPN has Red Sox at 7 in the power rankings. Well, yeah, not anymore. Not the way they're playing now.
Hell no.
Now, Seattle's going to surpass them, and I would imagine somebody in the National League might surpass them. So with the power rankings,
they're not playing very well right now.
No, but there are a lot of teams like the Yankees aren't playing well right now. I mean, so there are a couple of teams not playing well.
Right, but the Yankees are losing to like Jonathan India hits a home run or like they're playing. The Red Sox are losing because they're incompetent.
Well, just look at the last 2 games that the Yankees lost against the Red Sox. They lost. They had a 6-2 lead going into the 5th or 6th inning. They lost against, and one of their better pitchers. They lost against the Red Sox, and then they lost again on Sunday when they had the lead going into the 8th inning. They lost against the Reds, and then the last 2 out of the 3 games against, or 2 out of the 4,
2 out of 3 against Cincinnati.
2 against Cincinnati. They lost games that they were leading the whole time.
It's so funny. I wanted to text you, but I didn't because I know how bad the Red Sox have been playing. But I honestly did want to text you and be like, man, how about Jeter?
Yeah. I saw that.
Jeter?
Both games. Jeter was a big part of why they won those games.
Jeter Downs, baby.
Jeter Downs.
His first major league hit, game tying RBI, and then scored the winning run.
Yeah, I saw that.
Best Jeter in Major League Baseball history, by far.
Errol's going to root for that because he didn't like the Yankees one as much.
But I wasn't a big Jeter fan. So.
Yeah, but notice how I restrained myself from texting that because I was like, you know what? This Red Sox team, I'm just not a believer yet. Like they have so many injuries, it's ridiculous.
Errol will root for Jeter Downs to get traded later in his career to some National League team that he could tolerate, and then he'll root for him to surpass Derek Jeter all time.
Oh no, he is getting traded. They only called him up because they're trying to show other teams that he can be a Major League Baseball player, like at the Major League level, because they're definitely trading him. They have other dudes
Yeah, what I'm saying is they'll trade him to like some National League team that Errol likes, like the Cardinals or the Braves or something like that. That's somebody that he'll tolerate rooting for. That'll be like, this will be the greatest Jeter in baseball history eventually.
Listen, I have a lot of respect for the Braves organization on how they run things, but I'm not a Braves fan.
No, I didn't say you were. I'm just saying like a National League team that you would, like a National League team that you would root for like that.
Paul Goldschmidt to me is the MVP right now of the National League. He really is. He's been unbelievable. In the last 3 weeks, there's nobody in baseball hitting the ball like him. So, who's hitting the ball? The Arizona.
Kyle Schwarber. Kyle
Schwarber's not hitting the ball like him.
Home runs.
Yeah, but he's not playing better than Paul Goldschmidt.
Not the whole season. No, I think this month recently, he's on a hot streak.
League in home runs. He's only like 3 behind Judge for the total number of home runs. And he's half of those in the last month.
I'm not talking about home runs. Paul Goldschmidt right now is batting .332, 67 RBIs, and 19 home runs. He's leading the National League in batting average. I'm talking about that, dude. He's playing unbelievable baseball, and he's a Gold Glove first baseman. He's fantastic, dude. He really is. To me, he's the MVP. He is the MVP of the National League.
Yeah, Schwarber's only hitting .214 with a .325 on base percentage. Yeah, you're not winning that one.
I mean, he's killing it lately.
Yeah,
he's having a good,
he's having a typical Kyle Schwarber year. 28 home runs, 57 RBIs, and a .214 batting average, and striking out a ton.
But even with that low batting average, he's still more productive than Goldschmidt's been.
He's not more productive than Paul
More runs batted in. That's production. That's all.
No, he doesn't have more runs batted in. Goldschmidt
57.
does.
57 RBIs.
62.
To 62.
Oh, 62. Yeah. So there you go. Think about that. He's batting 100 points less, and he's equally as productive.
Dude.
And by the way, on a dog shit team,
the Phillies have a good offense, though.
Paul Goldschmidt doesn't strike out. He doesn't.
Kyle Schwarber's only had under 12 strikeouts.
I think Paul Goldschmidt has 15, 14 strikeouts this year? He doesn't strike out.
Right, but this is where my Babe Ruth argument would come in, right? Babe Ruth was great because he was high on coke and drunk every day.
80.
Look at Kyle Schwarber. He's 400 pounds, right? And he's not even close to an athlete. And he's keeping up with Goldschmidt.
So you're downgrading Goldschmidt because he's athletic?
Yes. It's more impressive when a fat guy does something.
When he hits home runs, which he's done his whole career, but he's not doing anything else. He's having a typical Kyle Schwarber year. He's not doing anything drastically special to get him to an MVP.
Think about how majestic it is when Rowdy Tellez runs. It's impressive.
I agree. I'm not saying the moments aren't great for
Pete
that
Alonso,
kind of thing.
I think Pete Alonso, you can argue more that he has a chance to beating Paul Goldschmidt. He's not because
Alonso's having a terrific season too.
Yeah, but he's not.
Best player in New York.
No, he's not, dude.
Easily, hands down,
dude,
polar bear power.
You're on drugs.
Polar bear power.
Yeah, polar bear power.
Polar bear power.
Dude, he's not the best player. He's not even the second best player.
Goldschmidt leads the National League in batting average, on base percentage, and OPS, and he's second in all of baseball on OPS right now. Only
but that doesn't matter.
Why? Because Kyle Schwarber's just built like Babe Ruth.
No, because whoever is second should win MVP because that was the argument last year. You can have inferior numbers, and then whoever was second should win.
For OPS?
No.
For OPS is the big thing they track.
Ohtani had all better numbers, but Vlad Guerrero should have won.
No. I'm saying Goldschmidt has that for the National League, not all of baseball. Alvarez leads in OPS in MLB.
I'm still taking Pete Alonso over the long haul.
You're out of your mind.
Dude, the Mets are going to win that division, right?
Are they?
The Mets are going to end up in the World Series. You watch.
Okay. I hope you're right, but the Cardinals can still win their division too. It's not the Brewers haven't ran away with anything. They just lost a series to the Pirates.
I had a similar conversation of what I'm going to say earlier with Errol, right? Mm-hmm. Which is who cares about the regular season? That's all just nonsense, and you're just trying to make playoffs, and they will. The Mets are built for playoff baseball. When teams get
and Atlanta isn't.
No,
and the Cardinals aren't.
Cardinals stink.
They're stink.
Yeah, no, because when you compress the rotations, because rotations for the playoffs, they only go to 3 starters.
Honestly,
so
who won the championship last year? Who won the championship last year? Who won the Braves?
Yeah, Atlanta.
Was it because of their pitching or was it because of their hitting?
Right, dude.
Honestly.
Hold on.
Honestly.
You do this all the time, these rhetorical, stupid questions. Here's the difference. In the playoffs, you're going to have to, there's only going to be 3 pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to beat a rotation that's DeGrom, Scherzer, and
Bassett. Bassett is the third right now.
And Bassett. Those are the 3 pitchers. 2 of them are unhittable.
Scherzer, if you look at his numbers in the playoffs, they're not unhittable.
They're
not
good.
Unhittable.
They're not unhittable.
They're not unhittable. DeGrom's a crazy.
So far, yeah. And then Bassett's unknown.
Bassett's unknown. So 1 out of 2 is a guy that you could say, oh, you're right. Scherzer, Scherzer's hittable.
I'll ride with Scherzer's numbers, dude. I'll ride with them.
All right.
But when you
could they hit? Could they hit in the playoffs?
I believe that they're going to make the right moves and make some trade deadline acquisitions. They'll eventually move Dominic Smith somewhere and get something in return for him. So. Right? Like, I believe they're going to make some moves. Teams aren't complete right now. They are what they are right now.
No.
I believe Uncle Stevie's going to make some moves. And those 3 pitchers, when it comes to playoff time, I believe that that's going to be the best, the combination best 3 in all of baseball.
I truly hope you believe that, but I don't believe that.
I do.
I don't think they're the best team in the National League.
I think that's a strong argument. How many starting pitchers play in the playoffs? 3.
Sometimes 4, depending on the team, the way it's structured.
Barely.
The Mets, the Dodgers, and the Brewers are the 3 teams that probably could roll.
Do you know
3,
that the Yankees bullpen, which has been the best in baseball in the past week, it's not the Yankees.
Have nothing to do with the National League.
No. I'm just saying. I'm giving you the number right now. The Yankees bullpen right now in the past week has a 7 ERA. That's not good. In the last past week.
You just want to talk about the Yankees.
No, I'm just posting. I'm looking at numbers while you're talking, big mouth.
Right. It had nothing to do with the conversation. But yet you want to throw it in because it's a Yankees number that you don't like. Great. You don't like it.
I've got Yankee fans that are listening to the show, and I want them to hear that.
Who's the rotation that's better than DeGrom, Bassett, and Scherzer for the playoffs? Name another top 3 in the National League that can compete with that.
Right now?
Right now, no. The Dodgers, if they're healthy, maybe could at the top 3. The Brewers were thought of last year to be that, but Woodruff's been a little down from where he was last year. And
the Dodgers will be the team to beat.
Yeah, that's the only one. That's the only one in terms of like overall player talent.
Question is, could the Mets hit in the playoffs? And that's important too.
They will.
Okay, they will. Who?
They will.
Who? Polar Bear. Polar Bear is one player, and he's batting 266. Okay.
Who's that pig playing shortstop for?
Lindor.
Lindor. Oh, I'm sorry. His playoff numbers are horrible. Okay. So
right. We'll see what happens come playoff time.
He's horrible.
He's bad against the Yankees. He's actually good against everybody else. We'll see on that.
I believe the starting pitching will carry the Mets in the playoffs. You'll see them in the World Series.
Okay, I'll make that bet. I'll make the bet.
Just what I believe. I believe Uncle Steve will come through. He'll make some.
I'll make that bet. I'm telling you right now, just because on paper the pitchers look good doesn't mean they're all going to pitch crazy. We've seen this before. We've seen good teams with great pitching. Everybody thought the Dodgers pitching were unbeatable in the playoffs, and they got knocked out last year. So please, okay, please.
Yeah, they choked. They were the best team.
All right, and what makes you think? And what makes you think the Mets aren't going to do the same thing?
I just believe there's something special brewing in Queens.
Okay, something special. All right. It's
brewing. Why can't I have a belief? Don't you go on belief sometimes? Yeah. Don't you just have a gut feeling sometimes?
All right. Well, I'm saying you're out of your mind.
Okay, you think I'm out of my mind, but at least I'm backing up my case with believable things, right? The pitching staffs get condensed. Uncle Stevie will make a move.
Here,
Polar Bear power.
They are not hitting, dude. They're not.
Yeah, they're not hitting right
they're
now.
Not hitting.
Say they won't be in. This is the first half of the season. You're saying.
Do you know how many runs they're averaging a game? You know how much their runs are averaging a game in the last almost month, 3 weeks?
I'm a Red Sox fan.
A little bit over 3 runs. You're not winning. You're not winning like that.
I'm a Red Sox fan, and you keep telling me and harping on this the whole time. It's the first half of the season. Let's see what they do in the second
trade
half.
for Ian Happ.
But yet,
they need that.
But yet you fail to want to give that same courtesy to the Mets.
No, I'm telling you, you're out of your mind. They're not getting enough hits.
Carl, there is actually one Cub I am intrigued by. A relief pitcher that has some starting experience and good playoff experience recently is Wade Miley. That is somebody I would want. A lefty guy, because the Mets need a lefty pitcher badly. They need a lefty pitcher badly. He's pitching well out of the bullpen from this year. He pitched great out of the bullpen for the Brewers in 2018 in the playoffs. I think the Mets, who desperately need a lefty out of that bullpen, that's a good trade for them. And they probably don't have to give up much because he's older.
You don't want Wade Miley. He stinks.
Yeah, I wouldn't say stinks. He's an average pitcher. But again, they need bullpen depth. The Mets have enough stars.
He gives up a shit ton of runs for a dude that's supposed to be just
What? And
I'm
Carl
not saying
says
he's a top end starter.
Carl says I say you need hitting. Why not Hap or Contreras?
Contreras is interesting.
They need a bat in that lineup. They need a bat that protects Pete Alonso. They don't have one. And if they're going to go into the playoffs like that, they're not going to win. They're facing better pitching. They're facing better pitching.
I'll give you a big bat that's out there.
I don't care how much they strike people out, Jeff.
I'll give you a big right-handed bat that's out there and for sale currently on the market.
Oh,
Miguel Sano.
Maybe. Again, I'd rather have the Mets pursue.
They're not playing him. He's a
no, I know that. I know that. Luis Arias has basically taken his spot and run with it the way he's played this year. But the Mets, I would pursue pitching first if I were them. I think they need a little more depth with that because I think their hitting talent is still strong. Maybe one more bat, like Carl was saying, with a catcher. Contreras might be pricey though. I don't know what kind of thing the Cubs would be asking for with that because that's really the only deficiency that's like a major deficiency talent-wise is catcher for them right now because James McCann's always hurt, and then when he does play, he doesn't hit. So it's tough to tell with him. They also have Alvarez in the system right now, but I don't know if they want to rush him up.
Well, here's another question because
he'll be up this year.
I think so.
Here's another question. I'm a little unfamiliar with who it is at this point because I've been watching terrible Red Sox baseball. Who are the teams that are going to be sellers though?
There's going to be a lot in the American League because it's pretty top heavy. So you got in the AL West,
Oakland, definitely.
Oakland, Texas might be, and then the Angels should be, but who knows with them at this point.
So
pretty much everybody in the Central besides the Twins.
Could you imagine how much money the Texas Rangers spent in the offseason? And look how bad they are.
They're still better than expected, but they're not great. They might be an in-between team. It's weird though, because they always have like one pitcher that overperforms this year. 2020, it was Mike Minor. Last year was Kyle Gibson. Now it's Martin Perez. So it's just funny to think. And
how are there players that they spent the money for doing this shit?
Simeon started off really bad, and now he's hitting better. Seager's doing well though. He has 20 home runs already this year. And so far, he stayed healthy at the moment. But their pitching's been okay. They're kind of an in-between team. But, Jeff, going back to your other question, the Central, Indians, Tigers, Royals, they'll probably all be trading off veterans, I would imagine.
Corey Seager made the All-Star team.
Yeah. And then AL East, I don't think anyone will be selling out of the AL East. The Orioles are good, and they're probably just they'll probably be keeping their guys. I don't think they'll be buying, but
he leads baseball for shortstops and home runs.
Makes sense. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I know they're hot. I know they're hot right now, and they're kind of coming on a little bit. But I still think the Orioles will probably end up being sellers.
Maybe a couple veterans,
you could probably get that dude Cedric
Mullins. Yeah,
Mullins. Yeah.
The Mets. I don't know if they need that type of player though. Brandon Nimmo's played a very sufficient center field this year and played very well. So I don't know if they really need that type of player. The Mets really need catching and pitching depth more, I think. And then people are saying DH spot too as a possibility. Sure. I don't know if Mullins would serve that kind of role.
They're still on their winning streak,
have
man.
A bat off the bench.
They won what, 11 in a row?
10 in a row. Them and the Mariners, both on massive winning streaks right now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're hot right now.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm. Good for them. And then the the National League, the Diamondbacks and Rockies will be selling. Central, the Cubs, we already know, the Reds and the Pirates. And then the East is the Nationals and maybe
the Mariners
the
won 11 in a row.
Now it's 11. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, they're coming, Jeff. The Red Sox better watch out for their wild card spot.
The Red Sox, they keep playing like this, they'll finish last.
They'll be fine.
Seattle's breaking the playoff drought.
Dude, the mistakes they are making are honestly just little league mistakes. Just little league mistakes.
If the season were to end, the Red Sox wouldn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Thank God.
But it's not ending. There's still a lot of baseball left. And the Red Sox are going to get healthy. Sal just came back. Paxton will be back. I mean, they're going to be better.
Maybe.
They're going to be better.
Maybe. They just had to shut down Kike Hernandez.
I saw that.
He got hurt again.
I saw that.
I mean, It's totally screwing up their whole offense. And we don't have a first baseman. And I hate Jackie Bradley. Get that punk off my goddamn team. Bobby Dahlbeck can't hit it past the pitcher's mound. Franchi Cordero is a walking 3-strikeout night every freaking night. Right? Like, they stink right now.
I gave you a compliment when the show started that you said that the Suns were going to match the Pacers, and you were right. Like 4 hours after that came out, the Suns matched them. So
of course, you're not just letting that dude walk. They'll hold on to him and they'll work a trade. You don't let a guy like that go for free.
That's a lot of money to give him.
Whoa. You said it wasn't.
I know, but when we talked about it and you were talking about the rookie contract and how it was set up, that you actually talked me into thinking that it wasn't. Did you not? Did you not? So okay. Okay. So all right. So you told me and I looked at it and then I wasn't at home. I didn't look at it, but yeah, it is a record. So it's a bad contract.
Doesn't mean it's a bad contract. Maybe he plays up to it.
He's not going to play up to it, dude. Come on. DeAndre Ayton can't shoot a three if life depended on it. He's as bad as Ben Simmons.
And by the way, it's not a bad contract because contracts like Ben Simmons still exist.
Carl says Chris Sale for Cy Young. We need a time machine for that.
DeAndre Ayton gets in the game and produces. So you can't say it's a bad contract because they're at least getting something for it. Tell me again, what did Brooklyn get out of that contract?
Wow, a bunch of clothes. His new style, his new fashion.
What did Philly get out of that contract? Anything?
James Harden at the moment, we'll say.
Yeah, fat James Harden.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say he was great either.
He lost a lot of weight, by the way. James Harden lost like 25 pounds this offseason. He's looked good. Everybody says he looks great.
Hey, you want a betting tip? I'll give you the best betting tip.
Let's hear it.
Anytime Philly plays in Atlanta, Miami, or LA, always bet against Philly. Always bet against them.
Why? Do they have the clubs that James Harden's going to go to?
Dude, the town, excuse me for this, the towns that have the most famous strip clubs in the country.
Oh.
Right? James, and that's what James Harden likes to do. He likes to go out and throw money around those strip clubs.
Yep.
And he's always out late. And if you look at when they fly in and he goes to the club in those cities, that when he ends up playing those teams on the road, he loses every time. Every time. He plays in Miami, forget about it, hungover for days. He plays in Atlanta, hungover for weeks. Dude, that's exactly what happens. I'm telling you, go look at the stats. Just go and look at what happens. He throws up the worst games of his careers in those cities.
I wonder if the Hawks fans could rattle James Harden as bad as they rattled Simmons.
Dude, you would think it wouldn't be the case that he would take his job more seriously. I'm telling you, go and look at the towns that have the best strip clubs. You'll find James Harden there. And then the next night when he plays in those towns, he'll throw up the biggest duds of his career.
Maybe you should go to that wing place with Lou Williams and do that instead of the strip clubs.
Probably better off. That wouldn't help him either. He's already fat. He's
that's true. Yeah, that's also true.
Right. Lose there.
All right, Jeff. We got to let you go, man.
Sounds great. Always love being here and taking personal attacks from the beach.
Thank you, Jeff.
That pig.
Jeff from Tampa. Wonderful. Man. Wonderful. Great show. No guests. I guess, Speedy, when you get a hold of these guys, just make sure that they're going to come on, that they're not going to hold us up, because we had people looking forward to hearing these guys. And I understand Brandon Jacobs, but if Brandon knew he was sick or he wasn't feeling good, you should have just said, Brandon, we'll get you on next week. There's no reason, to push him to come on. As far as Sojic, as soon as you heard that he had something going on today, you should have just told him we'll move it off another day. It's okay, whatever. I'd like to thank all the fans. I know they were waiting for one of my friends was waiting for Brandon Jacobs again. We'll have him on next Tuesday, so definitely stay tuned for that. We'll probably have Sojic on sometime in the next future.
Yeah, next couple of weeks. I'll schedule. I'm also hoping to get Charlie Slows on if the All-Star break hasn't contacted me back.
Good. I think Charlie will. He'll come on. But everything is good here. We'll be back next week. Listen to the Weekend Crunch live at 7 p.m. only on 103.9. You can listen to us also on iHeartRadio at 7 p.m. if you don't live in the New York area. Thank you again to all the fans. Keep listening. We'll be back next Tuesday. We out.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.